Tired of the same old, same old? Then check out Talk with Teddy. It's a variety show. And each week there are new guests and new topics. What started because of the epidemic and social distancing is now casting shadows over other shows. Talk with Teddy, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on WLFE DB Radio Network.
All right, guys. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Talk with Teddy. And we're going to have a good night here. I brought back a buddy of mine, Mr. Kenny Biddle. Say hi, Kenny.
Hi, Kenny.
Hey, what's the shirt? I drink what?
I drink and I know things.
Oh, well, at least one part of that's true.
I drink. I do know things. Shut up, bitch.
Ooh. All right, and hello, Steve Barry. Also, we have another good friend of mine, Mr. David, is here with us. David Askew, like excuse me, hello, or God bless you. But anyways, yes, he is joining us as well. And I invited him on, one, because he's also a fellow paranormal investigator, as well as, I don't know, how long we've been talking for a while, long while, since January or something.
Right, about 6 months.
Yeah, about 6 months. And we got to know each other a little bit, and then I'm like, hey, what are you doing Tuesday? I don't have a show. I need to make a show. Hello, Cora Mosier. Hello, T. Roy. So I figured, hey, let's do this. Let's talk ghosts and stuff, and a little bit, and see what happens, and invite Kenny along. Why not?
Why not?
I haven't seen him, so I figured, what the hell? I mean, it'd be fun. We saw each other at Gettysburg, as he says.
Yes.
Fine.
I have pictures to prove it. I have video to prove it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I don't have a picture of the sloppy, rain down, super wet Kenny Biddle who hugged me while I was nice and dry in the car.
I posted that.
Did you?
Oh, wait, did I? I don't know if I did.
Think so.
You're in our video.
Yeah.
You made it into one of our K&D Adventures videos.
Yes, I did.
So
did.
So there, stop your bitching.
Oh, girl. Yeah, I
know.
Damn. Tabitha Reynolds says, hi, David.
Hey, Tabitha. That's one of my coworkers, ex-coworkers.
Ex-coworkers.
Yep.
That's cool. But you'll be going back to work soon, Trell.
Yeah, but not with the same company, thank God.
Oh. All right, so let me take a look at the watch party over here. I got Jim Jenkins over here. I got Chanel Fletcher. So there you go, Kenny. There's another one, Miss Chanel. Ray Pellegrini, Pat, and Mark Wallbank. That's the first time I've heard that name on there. Still my favorite person ever, Tabitha says. So if you look over to the right of your screen, you should be able to see what they're posting. You should be able to. Somewhere in the comments.
You might be on private chat.
Oh, I see it now.
Up top. Yeah, just click on comments and everybody will come up.
Perfect. There you go. So what? Before we go on, what are you drinking, Mr. Kenny Biddle?
I am drinking. Oh crap! I don't know the name of it. It's rum. It's good rum, and it's got a really cool bottle. It almost looks like a pirate treasure, kind of like a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of coin on the front.
Okay.
And my friend Dana from the New Jersey, New Jersey Paranormal Consulting or something. I forget their name. The Peaches that we met in Gettysburg. One of them, Dana, brought it for me. So it was a nice gift, a very good gift. And anyone that gives me rum, I love forever. So I love Dana.
Oh boy.
So there you go.
All
That's
right.
what I'm drinking.
That's
rum.
cool. I'm actually drinking out of a pineapple.
Oh, look at you getting all Hawaiian and shit.
Yeah, and it's filled with ice water.
Amateur.
I'm older, remember?
By what? Like 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, well, I gotta watch my figure.
That's what we have mirrors for.
I'm drinking out of a beaver.
Yeah, he is. He's drinking out of a beaver.
Nice.
All right, Mr. Steve Berry. He says 151 rum.
No, not
No,
tonight.
that's
Gotta
Satan
work
sauce.
tomorrow.
He says, make your smack
Like
your
smack your
mama.
mama. Oh my goodness.
All right, so let's get on with the show. So David has been nice enough to come on to fill the spot for me, which was awesome, and we have been talking on and off all day. And he actually sent us some photos, and what we're going to do is we're going to put the photos up at certain times here, and then we're going to ask you in the audience or in the watch parties, whatever you want to call it, the chat rooms, to give us your opinion of the pictures. And then, of course, we're going to let Kenny make his observation as well, so he can say whatever he wants. He normally does, not like I can stop him.
Yeah. Well, you can. You do have the power to mute me and to kick me off the show.
I do, but would I ever do that?
You better not, because I know where you live. I will hunt you down.
You don't have a clue where I live. Maybe. I know.
Yeah, let's just move on from that.
Moving on up. All right, so David, let's talk about you a little bit. So you got into the paranormal how long ago?
Well, it all kind of started when I was a kid. My dad basically dumped my mom and my two brothers off at my grandmother's house and left. My mom did what she could, and she bought an old trailer house, a little 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And when I was a kid, that's the house that we lived in, and I had the worst nightmares. I was seeing things. I was seeing shadows. Nobody believed me, and so I thought, I didn't know what to think, actually. It got to the point where I was having terrible nightmares about my family being murdered, mutilated, me being shot and killed in the house. Terrible dreams. I was 6 or 7 when this was going on. Scared the shit out of me. It really did. I couldn't sleep at night. I didn't like going to sleep. I had to sleep in my mom's room. And then when my brother moved out, I actually took over that room, and the dreams got worse. I was being attacked. I was being strangled at night. And eventually, that house, thank God, Mom, this house was built on the same property. When they moved that trailer house out, my brother and I we went into it. They had moved it off the property, kind of like in a ditch in the road, kind of half and half.
Okay, that sounds weird though, but okay.
It's a house on wheels, so I mean they moved it. My brother and I were there inside the house trying to get everything out, make sure we had everything out. And the house is tilted like this, it's not level.
Right.
One of the doors, if you were to open it, it should fling open. It shouldn't slam shut. And it slammed shut, and we heard a lady scream. We ran out of the house, and we never went back. They finally took like 2 weeks for them to move the house completely off the property. Since we have this house, I've not had those type of dreams. The attacks stopped, and that all was in 1994. So I kind of stayed away from the paranormal until around 2001 when I started taking pictures with some friends. And that's one of the pictures that I had sent you. I have always liked ghost stories, but when I took that picture, it really kind of piqued my interest that maybe this is actually real. Maybe I was actually seeing things that nobody else could see in the house.
Right. Well, with first off, you're telling us from the beginning that you had an experience where your father just dumped you kids off or dropped your brothers off and left. So that's kind of a psychological thing at first. So even though you were young enough and you didn't understand, or maybe didn't understand, there was still a lot of traumatic stuff there. but I'm not going to discount everything that you're hearing or seeing, because what you're doing is, as a young age, when all of us are kids, we take in the stuff around us in the environment, and even if we're not literally paying attention, some of that stuff can affect us. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so I'm not here to judge you in any way with what you're saying. I think it's, as a child, that's detrimental. That's scary as shit. You know, to have like night terrors every single night, to have, you know, seeing your family killed and then you being killed and all that stuff. I can't help though, because of being, you know, where I am in the field, you know, and I'm sure that you've thought about this too when you do clients and stuff like that, that you have to think about the mental side of this when it
Right.
comes to the client. So, it's a tough situation there. Now that you're an adult, what do you think about what you experienced as a kid?
I think what I experienced is real.
Mm-hmm.
Several years ago, my older brother that also lived in the house, had said that he had seen things as well, but not to the extent that what I saw. But he
Mm-hmm.
did see shadows. He did see a
Right.
shadow, like a dark shadow, like walking into the closet in his room.
Right.
He would watch it walk through the wall and into the kitchen, and
Hmm.
then basically directly into my mom's room. And then sometimes on those nights, I'd be screaming a few minutes later because I would see it.
Oh.
So he didn't want to say anything. He didn't say anything really until just a couple of years ago.
Mm. That's still. I mean, when you take into account everything that you've seen from being in that home, and then hearing the story from your brother, and stuff like that, you really got to sit back and say, you know, I know I would say, Mom, where the hell did you, why did you bring us here? You know, it's like, uh, you know, we lived in a haunted house. You know that, right, Mom? You know, I mean, joking around, I'd be like, okay, Mom, you know, but on a serious note, it's like you really got to think. It's like, why did I go through this?
Right.
You know, not saying that in your mind as a child, yes, it's an experience, it's something that you witnessed, and to you it was very real. So we can't discard that at all. Um, what I'm thinking is, today is like, being an adult. Do you ever like try to sit back and think about what you remembered from back then, and try to figure out what happened, like as an adult though? You know what I mean? Like, I know that you're feeling that it was real and stuff, but you're a paranormal investigator now. Wouldn't Do you ever stop and think about what you went through as a kid to try and figure that out?
Um, I have a couple of times. As far as the nightmares, I don't know where those would have come from because I lived a very sheltered life when I was a kid. I
Mm-hmm.
was brought up in church. My mom didn't want, she wouldn't let us watch certain things. And this is also in the 80s, late 80s, when we had like 14 stations on the
Oh,
antenna. So it's not like we had cable or anything. Um,
right.
you
Hey,
know,
hey, you were lucky you had 14. I had 3.
so we
That's
had,
because you're old as fuck.
Oh my god. I had 8, 10, and 13, and then finally 31 came around, so I had 4 eventually. Yeah.
We had 3, 6, 10, 12, 17, 29, and 48.
Holy
That's what I
crap.
grew up with.
wow.
Yeah, on the dial.
Yeah, the dial.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was the
So
remote control.
I was too.
Yep. Get up.
And then
Change the channel.
then you had to hit UHF. You hit the
Yep.
UHF button and then change it again.
Well,
Yeah.
shit. I mean, we had 2 separate dials. Yeah, the separate dials. You had to turn the one dial onto UHF
Right.
and then go to the other dial and then click, 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 click. Oh, there it
Exactly.
is. We got it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I forgot about PBS as well. So yeah, I had
Then
that
you had
too,
to stand
channel
there
21.
sometimes and hold rabbit ears.
Right.
Oh, good time.
All right. So, anyways, as you were saying, sorry to interrupt, but you know, so you have gone through some of that stuff and tried to research it since you became an adult. I mean, I know that's what I did when certain things like when we moved into this house, I wanted to know what was going on because I still
Right.
get things happening and I have no explanation other than it's something while I'm sleeping. It's something like I may be imagining it. But I'll tell you, when I feel somebody kicking that bed, it feels real to me,
Right.
and it wakes me right up out of sleep. And then I found out that I have RLS. I have restless leg syndrome.
Yeah.
So I found out that that could be one of the problems. So actually, I was asked to do a sleep study to find out. Um, I don't know, but my RLS doesn't have anything to do with the bedroom door being knocked down or the wall being hit either. So I don't know.
True. So the house that my mom bought at the time, she paid. It was an old used. It was a used trailer house. She basically did what she could. Single mom raising 3 boys. So
Oh yeah,
it was
I'm sure.
it was a trailer house. It was a used trailer house. It was an older home. Had the ugly wood paneling in it all over.
Oh, it was beautiful. Come on.
So um, I noticed that I really did try to think that a lot of the worst experiences happened as she was ripping up the carpet, as she was painting, as she was putting down tile instead. When she was making all the changes to the house, the attacks came then. Um, I had asthma as a kid as well, and I had to sleep in a recliner because my asthma was so bad. But after mom started redecorating and she ripped the carpet up and everything, I noticed that I would have these scratch marks around my neck. And I told my brother that I was being choked in my dreams. And it was weird because the attacks actually started happening after mom started doing the renovations on the house. So once that trailer house was moved out, it seemed like everything stopped. My asthma went away. Of course, you can outgrow asthma, from a
Right.
kid as you get
Right.
older.
Right.
But it just, I really do think about some of those things from time to time, about some of the things that I saw, some of the dreams that I had. I still remember several of them. And they're very gruesome. And at 6 or 7 years old, those are the kind of dreams that I was having in that house. And that
Right.
it was just terrifying to me.
I know, like, I used to have some really strange dreams too. Shut up, Kenny. And
Bow, bow, bow.
I have to say it ahead of time because if I don't. But anyways, no, I had some really, kind of freaky, scary dreams when I was a kid too. In fact, I learned at a young age how to control my dreams. I was always into the weird stuff, and
Just making
Shut
it
up.
too easy, Ted.
I know, right?
Shut up. But I was definitely like into the psychic stuff. I was trying to find out about all the weird things in the world, all the, because I have had a lot of experiences, and I just associated when I was younger that it had something to do with my brain, like my dreams. I was creating this stuff, okay, like I was manifesting this in my head, and so that's what I thought. And then, as I got older, I started taking psychology in high school and then all that stuff because I just wanted to know more. I mean, that's where I sit today is I just want to know more.
Yeah.
And whether you're a believer or skeptic, come from wherever in the world and you have a belief that is different from mine or yours or Kenny's, there is still stuff in this world, even with science and everything else, that we can't explain. And I can tell you this, that the experience that you had as a child was real. It was real to you. It's
Right.
going to feel real to you. And we
Yeah.
can't take that away from you. But to have somebody believe like the stuff that's happened to me, it was real for me. It scared the living shit out of me. But I can't prove it, So all we have is our own emotions and our own body. And all we can do is try to do the best we can and get past it and move on. So
Right.
from this point on, I'm taking that as your, hey, this is what I want. This is why I want to go a little deeper in the paranormal. This is why I want to start researching more. This is why I want to start doing this stuff. That was kind of like the motor to drive you to do this, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. So why don't we? Yes.
I have comments. I'm waiting for you to shut
Fine.
up. Stop telling your fucking stories.
Ooh. Yes. Such
You
a
miss
bitch.
me, don't you?
Yes, I do.
So I'm listening and I'm hearing some of the details that you're giving us, and just my observation. This is just my opinion. So take it or leave it. You know, whatever.
I already warned him about you.
Oh, good. So I'm hearing what you're saying, and you said you experienced this stuff, these horrible nightmares and stuff when you were like 8 years old.
Like
About
six,
Six?
7, somewhere around
Okay.
there.
Okay. So from the other details you're telling me, we're talking about like 30 plus years ago.
Right.
Okay. So one of the main things that we need to address is that trying to remember details of events from 30 plus years ago is very difficult. You're going off of memories that every time you do remember them, if you remember them, I mean, and there could be years in between this, we are remembering them and restoring them. So you're not getting an accurate representation of actually what happened. It grows, it embellishes, gaps are filled in over time. So what you believe that you experienced may not and probably isn't what you actually experienced. But we just grow over time, and we look back and our memories get embellished and they grow. But some of the details that you mentioned really stood out to me, because you said you had asthma, and that the intensity, I guess, increased when there was renovations. And we're talking about an old trailer. This is way before some of the more recent health codes that we have now. So
Right.
who knows
Mhm.
what kind of materials that trailer house was made out of. So there is a good chance and a more plausible idea that you were probably allergic to some of the shit that was being stirred up when the renovations were coming. And this would fall into some of your dreams, quote unquote dreams, of what happened where you think you were attacked, where you dream that you were attacked. I have I forget the actual term, but I have basically it's exercise induced asthma. So like real quick, I mean, if I work out really hard, I could collapse because my airway closes up, and it depends on what situation I'm in. But regular asthma, like my father has asthma, and I've seen what happens to him. So if you had an attack at night, that would very well be interpreted by a 6-year-old as an attack from something weird. We also have the issues that when you dream, you only remember the last dream that you had. Every night, you actually dream, you have like 5 to 7 or more dreams per night, because you're going into that curve of going into REM sleep and then coming out, and you cycle. It's more like a sine wave while you're asleep, because you're going into REM sleep 5 or 6 times, and every time you go into REM sleep, that's when you dream. So you're actually only remembering 1 out of like 5 or 6 dreams that actually happened. And again, we have that issue that you're remembering from 30 plus years ago. So we don't know if the details are quite accurate. And I understand, I'm not trying to be confrontational and say, you know, you made up everything or embellished. I'm not saying that at all. It's just very hard, especially dreams, because they fade really quick when you wake up, unless you're paying attention and try to remember them. What else do I have written here?
He did have scratches though too, because there was scratches on your throat, right?
Right.
So scratches, I mean, unfortunately, that could also be self-inflicted.
It could be, yeah.
You know, if you have a problem where you feel like you're choking, because that's what asthma is.
Yeah.
Your airway closes up. You could definitely come up and try to scratch because you're trying to do it. Are you doing that to me, Ted?
No, I was waving to Matt.
okay.
Matt was on here saying hi, Teddy. So
like,
I was trying to.
What do you mean I'm talking too much?
I was trying not to interrupt. I'm sorry, and I didn't think about you looking at the screen.
That's definitely something that to think about, to consider, because you could have done that because you thought you're dreaming already, and if you're coming out of the dream state, your body starts releasing a muscle action, so it's allowing you to move again. And the first thing you want to do when you're choking is grab your throat, because it's like, oh God, and you might have scratched it. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but that's the possibility.
Well, that definitely could have happened, especially, you know, when you're coming out of a dream or whatever. Now, the renovations at the time, I wasn't allowed to be in the house. I was actually next door because it's my grandmother's property, basically. I wasn't allowed to stay in the house because I might have been allergic to the paint. Could have given me an asthma attack. The dust from ripping up the carpet, that kind of thing.
Good old lead paint.
No, it'd be the wood paneling. But I could have been allergic to the paint. That could have given me an asthma attack, or the old carpet that was in the house.
Right.
You know, I get it. But no, I was actually staying next door at my grandmother's house, and I was there for about a week. The asthma attacks that I had, I never really had asthma attacks as a kid if I was outside playing. I never really was like I didn't run a lot or anything like that. I was always a chubby kid. So, but if it was usually at night, and I was told that if I lay down, it can constrict the airways. So it's best that I sleep in a recliner. And for several years, I slept in a recliner, like, you know, like this, like so. But the recliner was in the living room. And I felt safer with the lights off. I felt like if I was in the light, things could see me. And that's how I always felt in my dreams too. If I'm in the light, they can see me. And that's what I always remember about my dreams. If they could see me, they would find me. They would attack me. And that's the kind of dreams that I had.
That's interesting.
And
I don't hear that.
It was only in the house. I mean, only in that house. And like I said, you know, it was a used house too. We didn't know what happened to the people prior to us owning it.
David,
just
real quick. Hold on, Kenny. David, I just have to tell you that Warren, your brother, is on.
Hey, Warren.
Okay.
So you had the dreams only when you're in the house.
Yes.
So the week that you spent at your grandmom's, you didn't have the dreams?
No dreams.
Okay. So that, again, and I know it's very easy for some people to invoke the supernatural aspects of it, but I mean, that, to me, that just strengthens the idea that you were probably allergic to something. Even though if you weren't in the house when some of the renovations were done, that doesn't mean you're not affected, because it's still getting shit everywhere. Depending on how it's done, you can still get it all over the place and on the people that were inside.
Right.
And then they come out and they interact with you. And if your clothes were still inside, they're going to get covered with stuff. Yeah. So,
right. And then there's the paint fumes and everything else, you know, afterwards. Yeah. So, but once the house was moved, everything stopped.
Again, for me, that strengthens the idea that it was the trailer. You know, like once that got away, it cleared up.
We're definitely not arguing that it wasn't a trailer, whether it was paranormal or if it was. You
definitely
know,
want to say, I appreciate that the conversation that we're having too. Because I'm bringing up counterpoints, and we're having a nice, polite conversation, and I appreciate that. So,
yeah, no, I mean, it could very well be. You know, there's a lot of different, like you said, you know, the health. Who knows what was in that house? I mean, I know that the people that bought it after us didn't keep it very long, because it actually was moved down the street and moved it all the way like 12 miles away. They sold it and moved it about 4 miles away. So we know the people that actually lived in it, and some of our stuff was still in there, according to, I forgot how they found it. Maybe mom left some of her bills or something in there, some personal information. And they eventually wound up talking to my mom and asked her if they had had any issues. She said, no, they didn't have any issues. She didn't have any issues in the house, but her sons did. But But like I said, once the house was gone, I mean, this house is on the same property. There's always that argument that the haunting is attached to the location or the land. Again, the trailer house, once it was moved, it all stopped. And
so when you moved into the new house that was built on the same property, you didn't have any problems.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would actually that would take out the idea that it's attached to the land.
Right.
Okay. So good conversation. I like that.
Yeah, it is. All right, so let me pop back here. We're gonna hop off of Dave's conversation for a second and go back to a couple of the things that are being said in the chat room. And you know how that goes, Kenny. So, anyways, Chelsea Ann Porter says, I had an experience as an adult. My brother was into black magic and summoned demons. My neighbor now have our old house, and they said it's haunted. The grandma gets scratched. I'm sorry about that. I have problems. I know Kenny has problems from that statement only because, it's tough to we hear demons way too much. I mean, I just had this conversation last night. Everywhere you turn, it's a demon, especially with some TV shows. And facts are facts. And without really knowing all of the story, the location, and all that stuff, experiences are experiences as well. I'm not taking anything away from that. But you kind of have to think about all of it as once, and your belief is your belief. And I guess bottom line for me is I'm sorry that you had to go through that. So I just wouldn't blame it on your brother.
We're also. I mean, the statement there is my neighbors now have our old house, and they said it's haunted. The grandma. So you're not getting firsthand accounts. You're getting secondhand at the very least. So we know how that goes. Unfortunately, eyewitness testimony sucks monkey butt. And I'm not trying to say anyone lies or anything. Let's not go overboard, but I'm just saying eyewitness testimony sucks. And things get embellished. Again, if you don't remember something clearly, the gaps get filled in. We do this automatically as humans. That's psychology 101. You fill in the gaps and make assumptions. It's really easy to do. And especially with a secondhand account, at least secondhand, it could be third-hand account. We don't know if it's coming from the grandmother and the grandmother is telling like the daughter or the son, and then the son is telling this. Now we're getting it second and third hand. So this is just an anecdote. It's a cool story, but it's an anecdote and it doesn't count as evidence, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's why I said to her, it's like, I'm sorry that you went through that, because we don't know the whole story, the whole situation, and she's just bringing up, her story.
Right. And I'm not saying anything against her, and I mean, it doesn't sound like anything happened to her or her family.
Right. And I'm sorry that the grandma's getting scratches, I mean...
Yeah, well, not her grandmom.
Oh, the grandmom.
The grandmom. So it's different. Like, they're not experiencing anything. It's the new people that bought the house.
Right.
That's what I get from that.
Okay. So moving on. Chanel Fletcher. I did see you over on the watch party. I did mention your name, but you must have missed me. Chelsea also put in here, actually, dreams are what your brain tries to understand as your spirit sees it. Or as your spirit probably it sees. I'm kind of not sure what that means now. Oh, is seeing what your spirit is seeing. Again, that's a belief, and I don't know if it's... it depends on whether it's... I don't even know. From Eastern philosophy, as in religion, and then Westernism, I'm not sure on some of that. But I do know that what your belief is, as in what your religion, faith, or what your...
You're so diplomatic.
I know. I'm always trying to be that way because I don't want to offend anybody. But at the same time, it's like, I want it to make sense. You know what I mean?
That's why you bring me on.
Okay, fine. I'll shut up then. You know,
I
I'm just
disagree
saying
with
that.
I disagree
Yeah.
with that statement.
Right.
It's
So do
not.
I. But
Yeah, you're not
yeah.
trying to understand what your spirit sees. It's basically random firings when
Right.
you're sleeping. There's no pattern. Again, like you dream multiple times, you only remember the last one, and
Right.
I mean, you can't really go off of that because now you're talking about 5 or 6 other dreams that you have no clue what
Right.
happened.
That means my spirit's been seeing all these people murdered in that house, and it's just like I, I don't know. I don't want to see that. I mean, like I
So did
said,
you ever?
I'm
Were
only
you
6 years
ever
old.
murdered? Did in your dream? Did you ever die?
Yes, I've been shot in my dream. That's the thing. That's what I remember being shot at in my dream. I remember being shot several times in the dreams in that house. That's
Damn.
why I always felt like I needed to be in the dark, because if I'm in the light, whatever it's in that house could see me.
What
And
shot?
what was that?
Who shot you?
So in the dream, let's say that I never saw their face. They were in the dark, but let's say, I've got a lamp over there. Let's say I'm sitting over there on my bed, but it's dark in here. If I couldn't see in the room, but I'm next to a light, I always heard somebody say, "There you are." Oh, there you are. And then I would hear the boom. I would hear the bang. I'd hear the gunshot, and I would feel it. I would jolt. I would wake up.
Hmm.
That's when I'd have the asthma attacks too, was the
Oh,
nightmares.
that's
Um,
understandable. Yeah.
But always
Panic
having
attack.
these kind of dreams at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old was overwhelming for me. There were several times where, like I said, I mean, it seemed a little bit better because for several years in that house, I actually slept in my mom's room. Like, I actually slept on her floor next to her bed
Right.
um, for 3 years. And it seemed like it wasn't as bad. I was brought up and raised in church my whole life. My family was brought up like in the Southern Baptist slash Pentecostal slash um, different religions, basically. Um, we were going around from different religions and trying to kind of wherever we fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was definitely very, very religious. She had her Bibles and everything, and I felt safe in her room because the Bibles were there and everything. And I thought that maybe whatever it wasn't able to really stay in there. But then what sucked was if I had to go take a piss in the middle of the night, I had to walk down the dark hallway, and there's no Bibles in the hallway. Yeah,
There's no
so
Bibles in the hallway.
there's no Bibles in the hallway. There's no Bibles in the bathroom. There's no crosses anywhere.
I can see him starting taking bottles to bed with him. Like, I'm just going to pee in this.
So, but there were times where I could literally, I remember when she would like move her room around and everything, my where I would lay, I could see out the doorway into the hallway, and I'd see figures. They look like shadow people, like solid shadow people, but I don't think they were. Um, I don't know. I just know what I saw, but I know I could see them in the dark. And that's what terrified me. I would scream bloody fucking murder. Everybody in the house would wake up, but nobody saw them except for my brother until years later. He finally said, "I remember you had such terrible dreams." And he goes, "There were several times where I saw shadows in the closet, and they would walk through the wall, and then I would see them in the living room walking towards the kitchen, and they would walk through the wall." He says, "I remember seeing that myself." So, and that wasn't until about just 10 years ago that he started mentioning these things. And he said, "I remember seeing those." So, I mean, it just,
So this is all still in the. What are you laughing at?
bathroom reading has a whole new meaning now.
So
See,
this is
and
all still happening in the trailer house, right?
yeah, all happened in that trailer house.
So how big is this trailer house? I mean,
Not big. Not
Okay.
big. I mean, My mom, like I said, she my dad just left us there, so she bought what she could,
Right.
and it was
And I
probably
want to just
two
throw it
bedroom,
out
three
there, like,
bedroom.
huge props to your mom. I mean, for
Yeah.
for stepping up and doing what needs to be done. I mean, that's
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome props to your mom. So is this were where was this trailer located? Were there other houses close by? Were there
right
roads?
here, right here
there.
on this property, right where I'm sitting right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's asking, I think, is
Like,
do
is
you
there
have neighbors?
what's
Is
around
there
you? Yeah.
what's around you?
So what would be right next to me would be my grandmother's house. On this side, there is there's another house, but they're a ways back. It's out in the country.
Okay.
They're probably about maybe 200 feet, 250 feet away, roughly. There's a lot of trees between us and them. My grandmother's house is maybe about 100 feet away, and there's no trees really between us.
How's
On
the
the other-
traffic? Any
The
traffic
traffic?
on your street?
Oh,
Like,
no.
do you have a street
There's-
right in? Okay.
It's at that time it was a dirt road.
Okay.
There was 6 houses total on this property.
All
I
right.
mean, on this road, whole road,
Yeah.
there was 6 houses.
Okay.
So there wasn't a lot of traffic at all. The people that lived all the way down the street, they were old then, so they're really old now. Our neighbors, they're quiet people. We're friends with them. They're definitely much older now. They're very quiet people. 9 o'clock is their bedtime, that kind of thing. My grandparents lived next door.
I'm kind of throwing out ideas. I'm trying to get a better picture of the scene
Right.
that's going on. Again, I know I'm not expecting much because it's 30 plus years ago when these things happen. So
Right.
Trying to figure out, trying to solve this mystery, not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's too far gone in order to get the details that we need. But I'm just trying to get paint a better picture of the scene so I understand better. But
I do feel it's interesting, though, that his brother did see the same thing that he saw.
And just to clarify, not the brother that's in the chat room, because
Right.
long story short, I actually just found out about my other brother a couple of years ago, actually.
Oh,
So-
Warren is a brother you didn't know about?
Right. We have the same father. So same kind of story. Basically Warren, he lives up in Canada, and he met the whole family last year. I met him prior to that, and brother from another mother. So he probably doesn't.
that's awesome.
He probably really doesn't even know about what I went through as a kid in that mobile home, because I don't think we've ever really talked about this. But
He knows now.
yeah, he knows now. So
Yeah. Well, I still go back to the whole thing as a child because, no matter what you went through terrified you. It was an
Right.
experience. It's something that you're always going to carry with you. It was real.
Yeah.
So no matter
Stop
what
saying
we
it.
try to explain, no, who are you talking to?
I'm saying it to you. Like,
What?
I'm not trying to take away his experience, but
No, I know.
We have to
No.
clarify.
I'm
You
not.
keep
I'm not
saying-
doing that. I'm
you
not
keep
doing that.
saying it was real. It was real to him.
Exactly.
Like, that's a much better statement. It was real to him because it was his perspective and his
Right.
experience. Duh.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean that it was real. What
Did
he
you just say duh?
no. It's my Philly accent coming through.
Okay.
Yo. I'm saying that the experience that he had is from his perspective. That's what we're hearing from his
Right.
perspective.
And I'm good
rebuilt
with
memory.
what you were saying. I wasn't saying it for your benefit, as
It's
in,
a pet
to
peeve.
believing.
Pet peeve
I-
with me.
Shush. My
It was
God.
it was definitely real to me. Yes. Yes.
All I was trying to say was to bring it back to the people that are watching, that may be tuning in, that just caught a little bit of this, is that, it was an experience. It was something that was real to you. Is that better? It was real to him.
There you go.
Fuck
Much
off,
better.
Kenny. Anyways.
Wait. I got something for you here.
Yeah, I know
There
you
it
do.
is.
Thank you. I've been looking for that.
I'll save this for you. Put it in a
All
box.
All
I'll
right,
send it to you.
thanks. Warren says he is learning a lot, which is very cool. Hello, Eric Harrison. How are you? He says, hi, Teddy, hi, Kenny, and hi, David.
Hello.
Hey, Eric.
I do want to say hi, Matt. I did wave at you, and I got yelled at for it. I would just want to make sure that I do verbally say hello to you, Matt.
Sorry.
And I accepted your friend request. Carrie Ann, Becky Dibble, Lon Abram, Mike Clark, Ian Griffin, Gregory Myers. Thank you so much for joining us over on the watch party as well. Welcome to Talk with Teddy on WLFE DB Radio. We are talking with David. Actually, we didn't even tell you. David's from Texas. We didn't even mention that where you live. You're in the wonderful, huge ass state of Texas. Let's see. Cheryl Sanders. Hello, Cheryl. Cheryl does say
It's true. It's true what he said. I'm not denying it.
I love it. All right, so let's go on. Let's move on. So you started getting more into the paranormal, creating your own, collecting your own stuff, your own devices, your own gadgetry, as I like to say. And you started getting into this.
Right.
Starting investigating. So why don't you tell us a couple, like interesting things as you were, going through this. I mean, did you actually join any teams or start a team or anything like that?
So originally, I started working with a touring company here in Houston. They did ghost tours. So I thought, whatever. They needed an extra tour guide, and I needed the money. So basically, I joined them. So
Sounds like Teddy's Friday night.
Shut up. Shut up, you ass.
but I basically I started working with them, and then I started noticing that while we were on the tour, people were capturing, of course, orbs. And I'm like, it's just dust or whatever. I'm not a big orb fan, but you'll see some pictures tonight. I'll have to explain those. I'm not an orb fan, but then people would take pictures. They would capture faces in the windows. I'm like, it could be dust. Somebody could have drawn that. There could be a poster on the other side of the window. But I'm like, yeah, a cool picture, whatever. I started to have things happen to me on the tour. So that's when I really started about 12 years ago. I started getting involved in the paranormal again. And I started watching how they did like house cleansings, and so it's kind of like a tour company, investigators, and house cleansings. So I was like, I'll watch it. When it started having things happen to me on the tour, and then I started taking pictures, I started getting more interested again in the paranormal. I've always liked ghost stories, but kind of set off with one of the people from the tour company, and went investigating and had fun. And some of the pictures that we took, she's like, okay, this is kind of interesting. You're capturing mists, you're capturing orbs. This is how a lot of people say that this is how the spirit energy manifests itself on camera. Then it could be, and it could be dust. It could be a bug. This is why, I say I'm not an orb fan, but it kind of went from there. And over the course of the last several years, I just kind of bought cheap items, a camera, microphone. Radio Shack was going out of business, so I bought some nice EVP recorders for $6 a piece.
There you go.
And so now basically this is my ghost hunting kit.
Yeah, I know, it's huge. He's got like 5 drawers of stuff. Kenny, he's got as much stuff as you do, but yours just sits in a container and doesn't do anything.
Actually, my stuff is at my soon-to-be-open museum, and I have a whole display case full. So,
oh, cool.
But most of it's taken
you
apart.
did mention. Yeah, you did mention that. I forgot that you were doing a museum. That's cool.
So, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. I mean, that's basically it. I started with all of this too, and been doing house cleansings. investigate. I try to capture as much evidence as I can to find out what we're dealing with, if we're dealing with anything at all. And a lot of times, you go on the investigation, nothing happens. But I usually tell them, we'll do it again. We'll wait a couple of weeks. We'll do it again, just in case, make sure that they don't think that I think that they're crazy. So I'll investigate the house twice. If nothing, then we'll just kind of leave it be. But several times, usually on the first investigation, I'll have enough personal experiences that I'll definitely want to come back and investigate. And then I've got some of the videos and pictures that I've sent you. So
right. Yeah, I like the pictures themselves. I mean, I'm not gonna, for some of you that are just tuning in, David has sent me some pictures that we're going to kind of review, and what we're going to do is we're going to put them up for you guys to tell us what you think, and pretty much that's it. And because I've invited Kenny here to, for fun, and I haven't seen him in a long time, I sort of knew that he was going to get involved as well. Yeah, he's going to be a dick, but that's okay. That's what I expect.
I try to be a nice dick.
I know. But I already warned David about you, so we're good, and... it's
I can only imagine how that went.
I've got a lot of pictures too that they're just really cool pictures, and then a lot of them you can explain away. A lot of them, one in particular, the game camera that I have.
Yeah, I'm going to bring. Do you want me to bring that one up while we're talking?
That's fine. You can go ahead and do that. That's the only picture that this thing ever took.
I gotta find it here again. That's the one with the girl, right?
He's going to break the show now.
Shut up.
Here we go. It was nice talking to everybody. We're probably going to be cut off.
You're such an asshole.
That's
Did
it.
I not
Talking
download
Teddy
that
is
one?
just ended.
Shush. I don't think
know
I
if I need
downloaded.
Let me know if I need to share my screen, because I have them right here on a folder.
All right,
but yeah,
well, that one I didn't download. So if you want to bring that one up, you can.
All right. I gotta find it first.
Okay, so he bought a camera. Why don't you explain that? You bought this camera.
It was a piece of shit. I bought it. This is the only picture it ever took, and that's it.
It never did anything afterwards.
You said it was a game cam?
Yeah, it's one of the cameras. Here we go. Can y'all see that?
Not yet. Oh, wait. Here it comes.
So if you look here, you can see through her leg. If you look over here, there's no shoe. I don't even know if it's a woman or not, because somebody said it looks like a woman. Then somebody said, oh, well, there was a motorcyclist that was killed on the road going to this cemetery years ago. And I'm like, I don't think ghosts wear sneakers, but whatever. But like I said, if you look here, you can see through her leg or his leg. And then over here, there's no foot. So this is the only picture this camera ever took. That's it. That's all I'm saying. It stopped working after this. It could be a malfunction. It could be overexposed. It could be someone walking. At first I thought it was Jennifer, but Jennifer wasn't with us that night, so it wasn't Jennifer. So.
Right. So, and the first thing I said to you was like, it looked like to me that somebody's walking by and it snapped a photo as the person was walking away.
That's it.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
And it does look like, if you looking up at the top, it does look like a motorcycle helmet. It really does. I don't know. Maybe not.
This is the only picture. September 5th, 2015. September 5th, 2015. That's the only picture the damn thing ever took, and that's it. They never took another photo.
Yeah, that's crazy. I love that it had the temperature on there, though. That's cool.
Right. So yeah, 75 degrees. It had the moon phase on it as well, down at the bottom.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to use it. But like I said, it's just kind of weird if you look at you can't see through this leg, but there's no foot. There's no shoe here, but then there you can see through the leg and there's the shoe. It's just
now if it showed the bones and the muscles, I'd be really interested.
That would be creepy.
Yeah, it would be a little creepy, but still that's very cool. So you get let's see what So any of you that are in the chat room, give us your take on this. We'd love to know what you think. Carrie Ann said over here in the watch party, she said backpack maybe. Now put that picture back up there for a second. I don't think I saw a backpack.
It could be. It could have something.
Let's take a look again.
Do you have the original image?
That's it.
Okay,
That's
that
the
is the original.
This is the original. It hasn't been altered.
Okay, so how is this opened? Is this opened in? You have an iMac, right?
Right.
Okay, I hate iMacs. Sorry, I don't know how. I'm not sure of how iMacs work, but can you right-click on that image?
Yeah.
What comes up?
Do you need like get info?
Yeah, maybe that might work.
Okay. And then what do you need?
To see it. Does it have an exposure time?
Oh. Hang on, let me see if I can.
I need what's called the XF file.
Okay.
So I need to see the image file that was saved when this picture was taken, and it should be on it.
Is that like the histogram, kind of?
The histogram is part of it, but it should say EXIF. So okay. More information. Name and extension. Comments.
That's why I have the question marks there.
Okay. Full
Comments
body
open with. This is all the information that I've got.
So you renamed this?
Yeah, that's all. I renamed it that.
All right, that might be an issue. If you can send me if you don't mind, it's totally up to you. If you want to say no, that's fine. If you send me the image, I can look at the XF file.
Okay.
But from me, I mean, do you want me to give my impression now, or do you want to wait a couple minutes?
Oh, no, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. Like I said, this is one of those photos that.
So one of the big issues is that game cams, trail cams, they are notorious for long exposures.
Okay.
They're not made to take good pictures. They are made to see if there's wildlife in the area.
Right.
That's why that's what they're designed to do. They're not good cameras by any means. So that image is a good representation of a long exposure. And the reason, like, there is a foot there. The other foot is actually there.
You just can't see it.
Very faint.
Yeah.
And that's because that's the leg that was in motion when this person walked by. Mm-hmm. What you're seeing, if you zoom in, can you zoom in on the one leg, the good leg?
The good leg.
The good leg.
Yeah.
So I want to draw your attention to the center of that leg. You see how more solid it is? It's still transparent, but it's more solid in the middle. And on either side of that solid, you can almost see a solid line going through the middle.
Right.
On either side, it's much more transparent. This is because it's in motion. This person is in motion, and they're reflecting the IR light. There's a lot of IR light going on because you see the headstone is that's washed out.
Yeah.
That's overexposed. But the rest of this person is in motion. And what happened was they actually they had their legs like this, okay? And the picture, it started taking a picture, but the person was in motion. So what happened was this leg planted and this leg started going this way, and that's where it got most of the image. But there's still some movement there as the person was still moving forward. That's why you get the little the more transparency on either side of them. What looks like a backpack, I see what they're talking about. That's not actually a backpack. That's the person's elbow.
Yeah.
On their other arm. That's behind them. So they're basically, let me see if I can match this up. This way. So they're kind of like this, facing the camera. So you see the elbow in the back. That's what's causing it, and they're probably wearing a light colored shirt because when you're dealing with this kind of image, lighter colors will reflect more
Right.
light.
Yeah.
And that's just basic photography. If you wear black, it absorbs the colors and it would be more see-through. If you wear white, that reflects all frequencies, all visible light frequencies, including infrared. So you would see more bright. So this is probably more of a white or yellow, like a light pink, a light colored shirt that they're wearing, and probably jeans. And then the helmet is most likely just hair. And then because they're still in motion, instead of getting a head, you're getting an elongated head because it's capturing a longer image. If we look at the XF file, it'll tell you how long of an exposure it was.
Okay.
Right.
And that from that, we can tell, okay, this was a long exposure. Because typically, if you take a regular camera and take a flash picture at night, you usually get like 1/30th or 1/60th of a second exposure time. And if it's any more than that, and when I say more, I mean it actually goes down. So if you have like 1/10 of a second, that's a long exposure, and would cause this effect.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can look at that, like after the show. I'll send you my email, and then you can email the original picture.
Okay.
And then we can take a look at that.
Yeah, like I said, that's the only picture it ever took. That's it. It just. You're right. They are crappy.
I mean, I'm always going back and forth with Bigfoot hunters because Bigfoot hunters fucking love these cameras, and they suck. They're horrible.
Right. See, that's the only reason why there was this was taken in Georgia, and if you Google this, there was I only lived 1 mile away from where this happened. Southern Airways Flight 242 crashed in a little town called Dallas, Georgia, or New Hope, Georgia, and I knew nothing about it. We moved there, and the cemetery, the plane crashed next to the cemetery, and a lot of the people were actually buried in the cemetery. But then there's a lot of people from the plane crash that died that supposedly walk the cemetery. So I'm like, what the hell? I'll just leave my camera out there and see if it'll pick anything up. That's the whole reason why I bought a game cam, just to see what I could catch. And because we all know investigating, you sit there for hours and hours and hours, and you probably won't catch anything. So just leave the camera, sit it somewhere, and come back the next day or two. Also, there was a battle that happened there. The Battle of New Hope happened there. So it's a very active area, according to a lot of people. So the plane crash, the battle, a lot of shit happened there. So I thought, I'll just leave my camera there for a day or two, see what it picks up. That's the only reason why I bought one. And I'll never buy another one.
Good. I mean, from me to you, like just my advice from just my experience with photography and everything else, game cams suck. Don't use them.
Right.
And I also don't like the fact that it's something that you leave and you go away for a couple days and come back, because there's no accountability. The only thing you're left with is one data point, which is that picture, and then you're like, I don't know what it is. But I had a couple friends of mine let me borrow several models. I had 3 models that I used, and I set them all up next to each other, and I just spent a couple days walking in front of them, daylight, nighttime, and like a slow walk. I even slowed down my walk, and I still got pictures like that. Walking in front of them, and I was like, wow, these are horrible. I'm not using these ever. But yeah, they're only made for wildlife, like to see if there's deer and stuff, so for hunters and stuff like that. So but cool. Cool.
Good night, Eric Harrison. He's going back.
Good night,
to
Eric.
work. Yeah, that's cool. Moving on. So why don't we throw some more pictures up? You can tell us where they're from and so on and so forth, and go from there. Is that
okay?
Sound good? All right. Let's. I don't. Do you care what order they're in? Because
I don't care. Yeah, no, that's fine.
All right. So
alphabetical. Damn it.
So that's my first picture that really kind of made me think that maybe I actually did catch something. That was the L House in Houston, Texas. This was taken in 2001. If you look at the image, looks like there could possibly be a female wearing a dress there. This is also back in the days when digital cameras were like 1 megapixel, and that was like the highest quality you could get. And you could also smoke in the bar, in the pub. Right. So what had happened was my friend and I were there. They have the best hamburgers at that place, so we always ate there. We're sitting at the table, and a salt or pepper shaker fell over and then started to roll off the table. And my friend said, "You better start taking pictures." So I took pictures, and that's what I caught. And I didn't actually see anything until probably a couple of weeks later. There was an author who did haunted places in Texas, and I basically took a picture along with another picture saying that the ale house was closing because Borders Bookstore bought that property, and this is what we do in Houston. We buy the property, we tear it down, and we make room for a parking lot. And that's exactly what they did. So the building was built in 1895. They tore it down to make a parking lot, and then less than a year later, Borders went bankrupt, and no more good burgers. But that's
they destroyed something that was built in 1895, as you said, though, too.
Exactly. That building was 3 stories. I'll have to find. I've got a picture of what it looked like, and I can send that to you here in a second. But yeah, that supposedly people think that that's the owner. She was a Pentecostal woman. She had her hair was pulled back, and she always wore a dress.
You know what I'd like to do, David? I'd like you actually to put that on your share screen and bring that image up for me, so it's a little bigger, if you wouldn't mind, because I would actually like to see it full screen.
Okay. Do you want to see what the building looked like as well?
Sure, if you got it handy.
Right. Yeah, I found it. It is 14 and 15. All right, so let me bring up the original photos here. So this is what the place looked like before they tore it down.
Wow.
And this was from the book Haunted Locations in Texas. So basically what I did was I sent them this to let them know that. Sorry, I'm getting used to this screen sharing.
Oh, good. Oh, good. It's all Teddy's show, so.
So basically let them know that, hey, don't post this anymore because they're going to actually close it down. So, just basically letting the author know. So the picture that I took prior to the one that you just showed is image number 14 on my. This was image number 14. So if you look right here, almost looks like something, possibly, I don't know. And again, I try to keep an open mind. There's cigarette smoke everywhere, but if you look right here, it looks like there's something kind of rounded right here in a way.
People were smoking?
Yeah, this is 2001, so people were able to smoke in. It was a pub. It was an English pub. People smoked. It was a bar, and they had some damn good hamburgers.
That's what really mattered.
That's what really mattered, because nobody else has been able to make a bacon Swiss burger like this. Anyways, so that's image number 14. If you look right here, this is like the file number on my camera that I had.
And that's the prior picture.
Right. Yep. And then image number 15 was taken a few moments later. And that is this one here. And it's a possibility. To me, it looks like somebody with a dress, but it's also not a very clear picture. It's a 1 megapixel picture, which was probably some of the best quality back in the year 2000, 2001, like 1.5 megapixels.
Yeah.
So,
most of the cameras I had were like 1.3.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mine was equivalent to something like that. I know it was at least 1 megapixel, and that was like the best thing back then.
There's a poster on the wall, right?
There is a poster on the wall.
Okay.
Let me bring up image number 14 again. Yeah, do you kind of see possibly like the face, the shoulders right here, and then
I'm seeing the writing and the imagery on the poster.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And then if we look at image number 14 taken just a few moments prior, this is where the rounded part is here. And then there's and again, I get it. It's an old photo because we're looking at 2000 here, 2001.
Well, the main concern I would have is that you're getting a lot of lens flare.
Right.
If you stop, wait, don't take it out. If you look above the left window, right there, right there,
Lens flare.
That is absolutely lens flare.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. And it concerns me that because it doesn't look like a flash fired. Because if you, depending on what camera were you using. Never mind.
It was an HP Photo Smart, but I don't remember the model number. That's the only other digital camera that I had was an HP Photo.
Doesn't, because is there more to the bottom of the picture? Okay, so if you use the flash, the chairs there would be illuminated.
Right.
You would see them. So there was no flash that went on. So that also brings up a concern about, because there was no flash, it could have been a longer exposure, which gives you more light. That's what it exposed. It obviously exposed for the interior because the windows are overexposed and you can't see hardly any detail except for the stuff that's right up there. And then on the other, like this angle looks a little bit different than the other angle, the next picture. And I'm seeing a reflection on the table, the second table away from the camera.
Yeah. And again, this is like, I was just randomly, it's not like I really knew what I was doing at that time. This is 2001.
Right.
I was just taking pictures because my friend said, "Hey, you heard that, right?" I was like, "Yeah." So I just started taking pictures in that area, and that's it. And I
don't want to come across as like I'm trying to debunk every fucking picture you're putting.
No. I mean, like I said, I'm always open for. It's not Photoshop. This is the original file.
Oh no, yeah, I don't think it's Photoshop.
No, he's looking for criticism. He's
I'm
looking
looking
at what you think, and
I'm looking at the overall picture, and
definitely smoke. There's definitely lens flare. There's a flash reflect. I mean, there's light reflecting in on the lens.
Yeah, I mean, you can see like on the right side, you can see that the mirror, the oval mirror that's on the right, actually cast a light on the door there. You can see that.
Actually, that door is a stain.
That's a stain. Yeah, on the door.
Oh, that is a stain?
Yeah, that's just how the door was. It's a men's room.
Wow. Well, that explains it.
Well, that was
David. That's why I asked you about the door, was because of what he just said. So
yeah. No, I see the reflection here.
Right.
But no, the door was actually stained like that. That is actually,
Right.
But yeah, those very bright points of light coming in the doorway and the window, they definitely concern me. Plus that I'm trying to figure out where that reflection is on the table, where that reflection is coming from. You see that on in the middle, the table that's in the middle there.
Yep, I see that too.
There's a right there.
Could be an ashtray because again they were allowed to smoke back then.
You know what? Yeah, I think that's an ashtray.
Let me look at the other photo real quick. I would say it's an ashtray. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like an ashtray to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because back then, this was before they banned smoking in the bars and restaurants in Houston.
Right.
So, in smoke and everything, I get it too. That's really screws up your pictures as well.
Oh, yeah.
But,
yeah.
I don't know. I do see kind of it looks like a woman to me. And it looks like a dress. So I didn't see it when I took the photo right away. It was when they sent it back to me in an email. They circled the image and said, "Look here, look at this photo," because they said you might have caught something.
Now, who did you send this to, if you don't mind
Yeah.
me asking?
Let me see if I've got their book. Hang on one second.
Okay.
And this, I mean, comparing both pictures, you'd have to look at that poster that's hanging up and then take out the dark areas, because that looks like writing and designs.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's adding like detail to the to what looks like a figure.
I can kind of see that. Because what is that called where you see faces?
Pareidolia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pareidolia.
And I get it. Like I said, the smoke and everything,
And also the pixelation. I mean, you can see right now, just looking at this, it's highly pixelated. So
very
the low quality of the image, plus the whatever's on that poster, because we can see some words, but we can.
Right.
It also looks like a design or something that's in the middle there, and that was on the other photo too.
Yeah.
So that coming through, that's giving you a lot of detail.
Like right in here.
Yeah.
As far as the person I sent it to, I'd have to look and see.
Well, you said it was somebody that wrote a book, though, right? I mean,
they wrote several books about like haunted locations in your state, and they go based on like the city. So like in Houston, this was listed, and so I basically just said, hey, they're tearing this down after a certain date. So I took a couple pictures and sent it to them, and it was about a week later when they had wrote me back. They said, well, thank you for the information. By the way, did you see this? Because I think you might have actually caught something. So it was, I think there might be something there, but then again, the picture prior had that rounded shape that was closer towards the door. Again, this was almost 20 years ago. So, and it's one of the first pictures that I took. And after I saw what it looks like a woman, I thought maybe I caught something here. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But let's see what we catch later on. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can find. So this is the picture that actually kind of got me interested in getting back into the paranormal. So,
no, that's cool to me. I mean, I'm not a photo expert whatsoever. Kenny definitely has more.
But see, that's a good thing too, because I know like the histogram shows a lot of information in these photos, and I mean, I don't know how to read them, but I know it shows like the exposure, the contrast. It shows all kinds of information.
Right.
And the good thing about digital cameras is it's imprinted. Once you take that picture, it's there. And if you mess with it and you alter it, it's also there. So, like I said, those were from 2001.
Yeah. No, I think it's an interesting photo. I was more curious on what the person that wrote the book, what their thoughts was on it. So I don't know. They just said to you, "Hey, you might have caught.
You might have actually caught something. Look at this photo." And they circled it, and
I'm sorry. I always say if you have to put a circle around it, it's not a ghost.
Well, that sucks because most of my pictures have circles. Just showing you where to look. Now, this is the image that they actually had sent back to me. I guess they did it in Microsoft Paint. I don't know. That's kind of what it looks like.
Hold on.
Oh man.
So I see, that it just kind of draws your attention to that section, and I'm like, it kind of looks like a woman in a dress. So I was just like, let me go look. And I didn't save the photo or anything. It's not like I overwrote the photo. It's not like I saved what they sent me. But this is what they sent me, and it says image circled copy. So, that's what they sent me back. They said, look at this and check your files, check your pictures. You didn't throw them away, did you? And I said, no, I still have them. She's like, you might have caught something. So
that's interesting.
do you have other photos of that area?
Let me check real quick because I probably should.
Because that would comparing images is really important. I mean, every time when I go out to investigate, I definitely have a different style than what was, I guess, common. But one of the main things I do is that I take pictures, at least one from every corner of every room, and including closets and bathrooms, whatever. It's one picture, wide angle. And then I also take 360 pictures, which obviously weren't available 20 years ago.
Right.
But I also take pictures from opposite walls. So opposite corners, opposite walls, just to get an idea of what's in there.
Okay, so this is image 18, and you were showing us 14.
I'm looking more for that poster that's on the wall.
Yeah, so the only other picture that I've got right now with that, because I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 pictures, and that's it. Those are the only ones that I kept. But then again, this was 20 years ago.
Understandable.
But no, those are the only ones that I have. The only other one that I would have is image number 14 that we already saw. But you can still kind of see.
Right.
Again, it's like you said, it's pixelated.
Right.
If you send me those pictures, I might be able to lighten and darken, or I might be able to enhance it a little bit so we can see. Because I mean,
the only thing I can do, I mean, I can add contrast and
right.
You know, that's the only thing I can do.
I mean, that's great. Look at that, because now you can see the poster on the wall much better.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And then what I would do later, if you're interested, you can wait until after the show and tell me to fuck off. But you can save this like this, and then do the same thing to the other photo, and then compare them side by side and see what comes through. Because then at least you know what's on the poster, and then you can try to mentally delete that from the picture of the alleged ghost and say, all right, what am I left with?
Right.
And after that
makes sense,
yeah.
I mean, like I said, the only software I've got on my computer is what is called Preview. And if I
there you go.
So I mean, if I add contrast, you still see it looks like a dress. I mean,
well, see now we run into the issue of priming, because that's what they sent it back to you and told you you might have caught something, and now you have this idea that it might be a woman. But when we increase the contrast like this, we see the lettering, and we see that it's not features of a face or hair. We see it lettering on the poster, so that takes away the head, and then the rest of this is probably lens flare. Unfortunately, I mean,
the only thing I see is more of a dress. That's really the only thing. I mean, some people say, "Oh, I see a hat. I see, she's got a witch's hat, or she's got a pipe, or whatever." I mean, people see different things.
Witch's hat. Wow, that's.
I know. Well, I mean, not on this picture, but.
Oh, you mean like in general? Okay.
Yeah, like in general, other people see things that I don't see, but to me, it looks like the face is here, shoulders here, her arms are here. Torso and everything else, and this is all I'm seeing is like the section right here.
And unfortunately, I think we're going to see different things, because that's what we're primed to see. I'm seeing like details. I'm seeing the low resolution of the image pixelating. I see the wall in the background coming through, so I'm seeing different details like that coming through. But I mean, that's.
Well, it's also 20. It's also 20 years old too. So I mean,
exactly.
Once you blow it up,
it gets worse when it blows up. Yeah, because it's really pixelated. Yeah, I remember those days of trying to be like, "Oh, I got a digital camera. I can print 8x10s." No, you can't.
No, you can't.
No, you can print out like a 3.5x5 if you're lucky.
Right.
But that's about
All right. So while we got the second, I'm going to do this real quick. Tonight's show is sponsored by MysteriousAdventurestours.com. Make sure you check them out. Send them an email. There is some information if you go to MysteriousAdventurestours.com and look for their logo. Click on that. That'll take you to the events that they have going on, which is over in Ireland and Scotland. Check them out. I actually have a tour in June, and it's just going to be a fantastic time. So if you're interested, take a look at their website, MysteriousAdventurestours.com. There. I did my plug. All right, so.
Brother getting paid.
There you go. All right, so let's go to the other one where there's a circle. For Kenny. Oh, do you see that face?
Put my glasses on.
Come on, Kenny, there's a face right there.
Where?
Oh, Lord. Hang on. Do I need to do it on my computer?
Well, see, you can blow them up. I can't. They're just going to be still for me, but...
Okay, hang on. Let me... So now my ex took this picture. This was on a ghost tour. So
it's your ex.
Yes.
Just clarify that.
So that's the camera flash. Now, I don't know anybody that takes a picture like this, Right. So that's the camera flash. And of course, there's this face here. Now I have to get the other photos because we have about 12 different pictures of this. Right now on my computer, I only have one.
Right.
So
at this point, like prior and
it's a mask.
So prior and after, was there anything that showed that image?
So in the pictures, yes, we have about. My ex saw the face and said, "Look at this." We took a few more pictures, and then shortly after that, we didn't see the face anymore in the pictures. Took about 30 pictures. Now, these are on my ex's computer. Okay. And we are on speaking terms, but I don't think we're on sharing terms at the moment. So what I really would like is to get about 8 or 10 photos of this so we can show that, it's not on the actual window itself. But again, I was a newbie at this time. If you look at the face here, what I did was, this was the old, they were talking about the Old Spring Bank. So apparently this was robbed by Bonnie and Clyde in Old Town Spring, which is just north of Houston. And it was robbed by Bonnie and Clyde when it was the bank. So I have pictures of the vault, which doesn't show anything paranormal, but it's still kind of cool to show.
What's the name of that place?
It's called the Steel Horse, but now because of the location, it's actually not in business anymore, but it is actually a bank. Nice. Then there was a bank, and then it was a furniture store, and I don't know what the hell it is now, but they do want people to go back there and look at the bank and look at the vault. Back in the day, it probably had about, I think they said about $3,000. While I'm for my other photos here, hang on.
As it's flipping out.
Oh, sorry. I've got so many pictures here. So what we did was, the owner said she's pretty sure that it's Clyde from Bonnie and Clyde because she says she always her
look at that.
Her cameras at night are always going off and everything. So if we zoom in on the face, this is Bonnie and Clyde, and to me it looks like he's got the same kind of smile in a way. But again, people see what I clearly see a face in the window. But
well, it does look like a face. But my first reaction was India.
Now there's a lot of Native American folklore about a curse on the town. A lot of the original structures that were built on the property or in this town have burned to the ground, except for 4. That's one of the 4. As a matter of fact, we actually had one. It was a restaurant. If I could show you, I don't think I have any pictures of it.
That's okay.
It's a saloon style. What they call it, like a New Orleans style saloon. It's
Right.
real narrow, but it's tall. It's 2 stories.
Right.
It's an old wooden structure built in the 1890s, and next to it was part of the restaurant. So the saloon and the restaurant next to it was all one restaurant. The original building, I'm sorry, not the original building, the newer part of the building that was built on the property actually burnt to the ground, and the original standing structure that's made of all wood suffered nothing but a little bit of smoke damage.
Wow.
So people think that,
Interesting.
because the spirits are harboring inside, that they're protecting, their place that they stay. And a lot of people believe that Clyde doesn't want to move on from the bank because he'd have to face his judgment. So he stays at the old bank.
Wow. Interesting.
Can you lighten that picture?
Lighten it.
Yes. Maybe lighten it and bring up the contrast.
Like darken it. Like that.
A little bit. Yeah, there you go.
That is interesting.
So, yeah, my unfortunately, I don't think I can be as easy going with this picture because it's literally hanging. You can see that there's a wire coming off the left side of it going
Right
up.
here.
Yes,
I think that's the part of the open sign.
the open sign's coming down in front, but it's that wire I think is connecting to the face, and it looks like a mask that with it's unfortunately it just looks like a mask that's hanging there.
Okay. I have to get the other pictures.
Okay,
Because
yeah, let's look at the pictures.
we have several of them. I just have to make sure my ex is usually keeps all these pictures. So
This is in Texas.
this
Still?
is in
Where is it?
Texas. It's in Old Town Spring.
Okay.
It'll be
Yeah.
Old Town Spring. So Old Town Spring is a small area. It's a lot of little places, little houses, little shops, restaurants.
Okay, what I see here, I'm going to say this. I'm going to stop you for a second because what I see is with the open sign, that like the outside, yes, that part there, and where it comes down and it lights underneath the chin of the so-called spirit in question. It looks like, because I see open signs a lot, and because they're neon, that's what that is. You can see where it says open, and usually what they do is they put the light blue or blue neon around the outside to light it up more. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking that's what that is the open sign itself.
Right there.
But the image that we're talking about, the face, the mask or whatever it is, I don't know. I mean, it could almost be like it's a smudge on the window or something because of the way the camera, like, was he straight on? I mean, this is the question. Was he straight on to the window when he took it, or was, because actually his flash isn't, so that question is null and void because his flash is to the left, well, right, depending on.
Correct.
So I'm going to assume that more pictures. Here. Right. Okay. So I'm going to assume that more pictures that were taken are not going to be in the same position that he's in right now.
Right.
Right.
So that smear or whatever that is may not be there in more photos.
What I see what you're talking about how the open sign comes down right here.
Yeah.
And then how it curves underneath to create the chin. I can see that now. I'll have to get the other photos.
Yeah, because I would be interested to see a side-by-side comparison. Even though he's not going to be in the same position when he's taking the photo. I'm not discrediting or being, anything. I'm just looking at what I would look for.
The photos
You know
are
what
up for
I'm saying?
debate. I mean, that's
Yeah.
So,
I'm not as harsh as somebody else we know, but I had to get him to smile. He was working too hard.
I'm trying to look up
Mm-hmm.
photos, and I see that I do have one photo. And unfortunately, it's kind of it's not the greatest photo. It's a daytime one, but it's showing. Let me see if I can do this. La la la. Boom boom. Oh, where? Chrome, Old Town Spring. Let me see if I can do this one. Share screen. Come on. That's the right screen.
Okay.
So there is a face
See that?
right there. There's a mask right there.
There's something there. Yeah, I see that now.
And I'm trying to compare because the only other picture that I found was this one.
hey, there's me
Where's you?
There's you are.
right there.
Oh,
I'm
right
giving
there.
the tour.
Look at you.
There's also something there too, but it looks like it's fell over. So I'm not sure what that
Right.
is.
Oh,
Look
it's
at you
part of a
go, Ken.
circle.
But you're right.
See,
There,
but see the open
there's
sign?
the
Yeah.
open sign. So you're right about that. Yes. So I'm trying to determine
Can we
what
blow that
this,
up, Kenny?
this is. Well, this is very. It's already pixelated. It's already
Oh,
as big
shit.
as it's going to get because it's not
Yeah.
it's not a good picture. But I'm trying to see if I can find like a closer picture, but there's really not. It doesn't
see.
look like many people took pictures of this place.
Right.
I can bring up.
But that's still amazing that you found a picture that had something there though.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, that's part of. Well, at least what I do is try to compare pictures from other people.
Right.
Like you said, you have a bunch of pictures, but they're on the X's computer, so
Yeah.
that could cause a problem. But if you can see those pictures and compare, if you're comparing like 14 some pictures and it's in the same exact place the whole time, then chances are it's probably just an object in the window.
They're in the same area, but not in the same exact spot, from what I remember. As a matter of fact, it looked like it was moving in the pictures, but that's what I would have to get. Yeah, and as far as I can see, again, it's changed. The building has changed because now this is what it looks like on Google.
Oh yeah,
Right.
So obviously the sign is gone now, but I have to get more pictures.
Yeah.
The original structure that I was telling you about the restaurant,
Right,
is this one here. This is the original structure here, and this is the part that burned down. Obviously, you can tell.
Yeah,
right.
that's different.
And then you can see where there was a little bit of damage right here, but the actual it actually just blew out a couple of windows up here, and that's it. But the original standing structure here actually was practically untouched.
It's beautiful though. I love old buildings.
Oh, you'd like Old Town Spring. It's definitely a tourist attraction, and it's supposed to be one of the most haunted cities or towns in Texas, besides San Antonio.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's see here. Here's your mist.
Mm-hmm.
Your Kenny, you gotta love this one.
I'm not even looking.
Come on.
Oh, come on now.
So Kenny doesn't like mists or orbs, right?
I'm not a fan. No.
So you're not a fan of mists at all either?
No.
Okay. So why not?
Well, most of the time, because the way people take the photos of mists, they think they're taking precautions, but unfortunately, most times they don't. And like for instance, this picture, the out of focus nature of the mist tells you that it's much closer to the lens than the gravestone, the headstone there in the foreground.
Okay.
And that's telling me it's right up against the lens. They're very close, and it's probably going to be a frosty breath. And just for those that think, like you can't get frosty breath when it's like warm out, yes, you can. You can actually get frosty breath that's visible to cameras up to like 65 degrees.
Okay.
And that has to do with humidity and also ambient air temperature. And then,
what about that one in the middle of the road?
why do you think it's in the middle of the road?
Actually, because I heard the footsteps, and when I took a picture, that's what I saw.
Okay.
Also,
so with that, you have two different experiences there. And it doesn't mean that they correlate. You have two separate experiences. If you heard footsteps, that doesn't mean that the footsteps caused this smoke.
Right.
And again, the smoke also looks blurry. So it doesn't, unfortunately to me, it's like, okay, it may look like it's in the middle of the road, but that's based on perspective. These orbs are most likely dust particles that are within an inch or so in front of the lens. And the same can be said for that makes it even worse, because now you can see it all. You can see it up on the right
Let
hand.
me ask you a question, though, first. Hold on, Kenny. Now, did you see this with your physical eyes, too, or just through the camera? Okay.
No,
I just wanted to make sure.
Camera. So I heard footsteps. What had happened was, so somebody called the police on us, because the only way you can get to the cemetery is you drive through a subdivision, and all of a sudden the road kind of ends, and it becomes this gravel road. So if you drive back there, people are like, oh, they're up to no good. So they call the police. Police officer was there with us. He asked me where my team was. I said, well, technically they're further back in those woods at the baptismal where this old church burned down. And they were trying to get EVPs. So the cop was standing next to me. We heard footsteps. I turned around, started taking pictures, and that's what I caught. To me, I guess I can kind of say what Kenny's saying, but to me, it looks like it's in the middle of the road. It sounded like it was further away from me when I took the picture. So that's why I say it's in the middle of the road.
So again, we have to separate those.
Yeah,
if
but
see, footsteps, that's one thing. That's auditory. That's not visual. Yeah. So we have to take that into account. And yeah, I mean this because it's so illuminated. If you look across the road about halfway, you can see how it drops off. The light drops off. It becomes dark. Most of your flashes, especially if you're using like a compact camera, the effective range of the flash is only 15 feet. That's not a lot. And that's like, effective range doesn't mean everything is the same intensity. It means 15 feet, you barely have anything. So for this to reflect light the way it is, it has to be much closer to the camera. It wouldn't. If this was in the middle of the road, where it starts getting dark, you would not see this. And that's just that. Unfortunately, that's just the way the camera and light works. There's just not enough power to illuminate something that far away that much. It's not solid enough.
That makes sense. These are usually, I think these were my cell phone at the time, which was a Motorola cell phone.
Okay. So that'll probably be even less.
Oh wow, geez.
You're dealing with. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be downer. You're talking the different. I don't even have any of my cameras here to demonstrate, but even a compact camera, you're talking about a flash that's maybe like a half inch, 3/4 inch wide. When you're getting to a cell phone, now you're talking about something that's closer to 1/8 of an inch wide, which is far less power, and it's not going to be an effective range that a actual camera has. So now you're getting down to maybe 10 feet, if that. So
it's still a really cool picture.
Thank you, Teddy.
Thank you, Teddy. Thank you for being the neutral party.
That's what we're here for.
We'll see, like,
look at him now. Now he's like this. He's like, fucking Kenny. God
David,
go ahead.
But see, this is why I wanted Kenny here, because I wanted to show to you or have you experience that there are other sides to all this stuff. That, you know what I mean? And I know that you know, but at the same time, it's like, dealing with somebody that's very skeptical like Kenny is actually, like I had said to you on the phone, it's very good for the field. And a lot of
Right.
people look at Kenny as the bad boy, the asshole of the field, and I don't look at him that way. I would prefer to have somebody go through and look at everything that I have and tear it apart and then put it back together,
Yeah.
and tell me what they think, only because it gives me another perspective. And in this field, and I hate calling it a field because I don't know what it really is, but it's with all of us doing this stuff, you need both sides of the coin, and that's the way
Yeah.
it is with everything.
Well, it also, plus we got a photo expert here, so I mean, but some of the things that like what
He's
he said
looking around
earlier.
now.
Well, I mean, I'm not a photo expert. That's what I'm saying. I don't sit there
Right.
and go, okay, this is exactly what this is.
Right.
Like in some of my pictures that I've got.
I want you to bring up the one. Would like you to bring up the one where
Uh-oh.
where you heard the noise and you pointed and there was.
Oh, okay.
the-
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because Kenny's gonna love this photo, and I think it's just a funny photo. That's what I would call it. I don't think there's anything to it, but I still think it's just a funny photo. And I just want you to do it because Kenny's joining us.
Oh my
That's all.
God.
Let me find it real quick again.
Teddy doesn't get to torture Kenny very often.
Oh, you don't torture me at all.
Is it the one
but
where I'm
still.
pointing at it?
In my mind, it is. Yes.
The one. Okay. All right.
Yes, that's the one. You're pointing at it. But didn't you tell me you heard something and then that's...
Yeah, pretty much. That's what happened. So let me
Okay.
find it real quick.
Stop rubbing it. What the hell is it anyways?
What the hell is what?
I can't see it. What were you rubbing?
Oh, that's my expensive treasure that I found. My Pirates of the Caribbean lamp.
Oh, isn't that cool? You said I got a
$5.
Godzilla.
$5, and I
Yeah.
looked it up on Amazon. $400.
No kidding.
Yep. I was like,
Wow.
shit, and it still works too.
That's awesome. You know what's funny is you say I'm a Godzilla holic here.
You are.
I know, maybe I am, but what's funny is because of the new movie, I'm changing the subject real quick, but because of the new movie coming out in 2021 with Godzilla versus King Kong, NECA and they came out with a brand new series of Godzillas and stuff, and I kept seeing it online. I'm like, why are they, how expensive are these things? So I went to Walmart and I picked two of them up, and one was $19 and the other one was $10. So it's been like 3 days. So today I went under to check to see what they're going for online now. How about from $19 to $60? No. I'm like, holy shit. Okay.
I mean,
Asshole.
So it's not showing up on the screen.
Oh, I didn't bring it up. I'm sorry. I gotta approve it. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's cool.
Damn.
Just leave it there. But I gotta tell you that when I first invited him to WLFE and he got his own show with us and stuff and got him on, we did this stupid thing where you took a piece of paper and you wrote something on it and you would put it to the screen. So that's why he did that. It was like one of the things, because Kenny used to say, I love this show, and he'd write it and put it up on the front of the camera. So it was like in the beginning of this whole thing, that's what our show was. It's just us holding up fucking signs. It was stupid, but it was fun.
Because I got to sign for him. No, I'm kidding. No,
Yeah.
no. Actually, it's good because like he said, when I investigate, I take different angles of take
Right.
different pictures, different angles and stuff, and like you said, there's no experts in this field, and
Right.
I've never claimed to be one. This is just something that I do for fun.
Right.
So some of the things
I
that
just
he's
wanted to teach you to get so that you're better at what you're doing. So that's why I said, hey, it's always nice to learn, and that's one of the things with this. So this
you got
Shut
orange.
up. Here he comes. He's also got somebody peeking around the tree. If you look,
well, no, they were walking in front of me, and we heard
it looks like
we
they're
heard the
peeking around the tree.
footsteps. Yeah, no, we heard the footsteps, and I was like, I hear footsteps right over there, and somebody was behind me, and they took a picture of my fat white ass. So,
It's
there
cool,
you have it.
though. That's so I'm like, yeah, we gotta have that one for Kenny. We gotta.
So what about this one for Kenny? Because for about a good 30 seconds, this is what I heard, and so it's about the same size. You got to admit that's the same piece of dust that flew in front of my camera. It's intelligent dust. That's what it is. And it was walking. I heard the footsteps and everything. It was a full moon that night. I took pictures.
Come on, Kenny.
So should we go to the videos now?
Actually, I would like to go to that video. We're actually 10 minutes to 2 here, so...
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, so bullshit, he says.
See, I totally agree with him. I am not an orb fan.
Right. Oh, I know. It was for fun. But
Yeah,
this is...
so
I actually would like Kenny to look at this one, and if it's something that you could do, I mean, if he can't... I mean, I know how what he's gonna do here, but I still would like you to send this video to him afterwards.
all right.
And have him tear it apart. Sorry to say that, but I would like him to.
Well, no, I mean, I'd actually like to know what the hell it is.
Analyze.
Analyze, sorry.
Well, that's what tearing it apart is you analyze things. So, you know, like you said.
See, I love it. David's like me. We're kind of like the redneck language over here, so fuck you, Kenny. Analyze. Tear it apart.
Did you approve it?
No, but I'm going to now.
Oh, okay. All right, so now this is just a snippet of the video clip. So we had just moved into the house in Dallas, Georgia. My dog runs up to the door. Well, actually, let me back up just a little bit. We heard footsteps walking up the stairs. So my dog, obviously, she was a puppy at the time. We had all the doors closed because this is a rental house. I'm using my infrared camera. We're in the dark, and what you're about to see here is our junk room because we just moved in.
So obviously she heard something.
Right. She kept barking, but what you're going to see is a ball of light right there. And what I did was I backed up my camera. I tried to do a frame by frame. It's a ball of light that goes through the wall. As it goes through the wall, it casts a shadow on the wall.
Yeah,
and
that's
we're in the
what
dark.
interested me. So right there, you can see. Back it up just another.
This is the whole video. Yeah, this is the whole video I'm going to do. It's going to go frame by frame.
Okay.
It was only this quick. It's only in like 6 quick.
And there's
That's it, and it's gone. That was it. So I back it up one more time, and then I basically played it again at full speed. That's it. It was a ball of light. It went through the wall. In the dark, it cast a shadow on the wall as it goes through it. So to me, I'd like to know what that is, because
yeah, me too. That's interesting.
The house is not that old, but it's near Pickett's Mill Battlefield in Georgia.
Right.
This is also the same house that is roughly 1 mile from where the plane crashed in 1977.
Would you mind replaying that while you're talking?
Yeah, that's fine. And like I said, we had heard boot steps, heavy boot steps. It sounded like 2 men walking down the stairs, actually. Charles was sitting there. Kimberly was there with us as well. And she's like, let's turn off the lights. Let's get your ghost hunting equipment. I had my spirit box. I had a K2 meter. We were just trying to see if we could capture anything. But once I opened the door, again, our junk room, and there's the ball of light.
Right.
So again, like I said, I'll rewind it. It goes back just a couple of frames. It is an infrared camera. I don't recall using any extra blasters, like infrared blasters, for extra lighting. This is just a light that came with the infrared camera.
So that is very interesting. Now I do have a question. I don't know how that would reflect, but here's 2 thoughts. One, where was the dog at the time you were doing this?
She would have been in the room, but she wasn't in front of the camera.
She wasn't. Okay. No. And you were pointing the camera down, correct?
Yes.
All right. So there was no chance she was in front of you, and that might have been the tip of her tail or anything like that?
No, because if you look, it appears out of here.
But see, what I'm concerned about is that... Okay, now I see it. Okay, so never mind. Because what I was looking at, when you stop it right... Hold on, right there.
Uh-huh.
Where what I was thinking at first, because that's why I said I wanted you to replay it, the little white thing that comes out, it must be a part of the cabinet or something. What is the white part? That dark part, or white part right there. What is
Right
that?
here?
Down below that.
This here.
Yeah, what is that?
That's
Is
a
that the-
baseboard. That's a
That's the
baseboard in the
baseboard.
house.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
Baseboard, and it looks like a vent.
Yep, I just wanted
That's
to
a
make
vent.
sure. All right.
I think this was some stuff in a plastic box. This is an old, like one of those electric fireplaces.
Right.
Um,
And the shadow, I mean, it's interesting. Like, I wanted to make sure, like, because you see the shadow of that, whatever it is, but I wanted to make sure the dog wasn't anywhere near that. I mean,
Yeah.
Because the dog, even if it's behind you, can it cast a shadow on the wall? I doubt it, but I don't know.
she didn't have anything to light her up. We were in the dark when this happened. That's why everything's that color.
Right. I'm just throwing things out there because of what I would normally do, and
Yeah,
I don't get
that's what we do, right? We try to come up with plausible solutions.
Right. So what interests me is that she went right for that door.
Right. So now I will say this: the only time I almost pissed my pants when I saw it. Actually, I really had to go pee one morning. So this is a bathroom door here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bedroom. This is a bedroom, and then this is the master bedroom. So the way the house was is a split level, and so as soon as you go up the basement to the kitchen, turn the corner, you go up these stairs. So I'm like, all right, we were packing the car up. I was like, I'll be right back. So the only restrooms are either the master bedroom or this door right here.
Mm-hmm.
I turned the corner and I started running up the stairs, and I saw a shadow go into this room here. Not the room that the dog is going to, but the far end there.
Right.
I saw it.
Which, didn't you say that was the master bedroom?
The master bedroom's right here.
Oh, okay. I had that wrong.
door.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, this is a closet, and then this is another bedroom here. So basically what had happened was the shadow actually walked into that room, and I'm like, I'll just piss off the back porch, and that's what I did because it startled me. I wasn't expecting it. But it wasn't like a super dark, like solid black shadow. It was like a shadow, kind of like what,
Yeah.
Like
I get it.
Just a shadow. But I saw it. It scared the hell out of me. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go back downstairs and I'm gonna pee off the back porch, and that's what I did. Thank God the neighbors weren't home. But yeah, no, she, like I said, she goes, like you said, she goes right for the door. Obviously, her ears are perked up. She hears something or she senses something. Of course, dogs can sense these things. But she was growling too, which was weird. And I don't have the growling in this because this is a screen recording. I was just simply trying to slow down the video so people could see,
right?
What the ball of light was doing. And I'd like to know what it is because, I don't know what that is.
That's interesting, though. I mean, I don't have an answer for you because I don't. That's why I was trying to figure out what it was on my end, what I was seeing, but I don't know. I don't have an answer. I've never seen an orb with a shadow.
I have a couple of times in a few pictures.
Really? I have never seen that. So
and
that's new to me.
Only when we've used infrared, and that's it. So a big ass piece of dust, I don't know. But it went through the wall, though.
It's a real dust bunny.
A real dust bunny, yeah. It went through the wall. So that's what it looks like to me. So
why do you think it went through the wall?
Because it disappears. But if you... I'm going to slow it down. Because as it casts a shadow here.
And it goes, it looks like it goes into the wall or towards the wall.
I don't agree with that. What I
Okay.
see is that it's coming up from the bottom of the frame and then going back down into the frame. It's coming in and out of the frame on the bottom. If
It could be.
shadow, the thing we have to remember is, although it looks dark to you, it's not dark. You're putting out light. You either have an IR or a UV light going on here. So you have a light, and when it comes to taking video like this, you can treat it like visible light. It has to be a solid object that blocks that light in order to cause a shadow. Because it's coming from the bottom, it's most likely your dog. It's probably the tip of his tail or something getting as it turns around. You said you're pointing down. You're obviously pointing down because we can see the baseboard, and it doesn't look like the room is like huge. So you're on a downward angle, and because it comes up from the bottom and goes down on the bottom. That doesn't mean that it disappears because it looks like it fades. What you're doing is whatever the light is, whatever the light, the IR light or UV light that you're using is on the right side. And we see that because in the beginning of the video, when the dog is walking up to the door, we see a sharp shadow, a hard shadow on its left side. And that tells you that the light is on the right side.
Right.
So you see the hard shadow?
Yeah.
Hard shadow means it's a very hard edge. It's not a soft shadow going off, but you see a dark shadow on the left side of the dog. And we also see that the brighter spot is on the right side of the scene here.
Right.
That's telling you where the light is. So it's actually from this angle. Stop right here. You can see that not only is the light on the right side, but it's below too. It's down. So if you're holding a camera like this, it looks like the light's on this corner.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing the shadow, a hard shadow above the dog, which means the light's below him. And that's telling me that the light is low. So it could be easy for like his tail the tip of his tail, just as it flips like this, which can happen, to get in the bottom of the frame and cause that shadow. But I mean, the basic facts are you're using light. It's a solid object because that's the only way that the light will be blocked. It has to have a solid object to block it. And then you're dealing with more of a it's a circular pattern. The light that's used, is it an onboard or is it an off?
Onboard.
Mounted. It's onboard light. Okay,
it's built into the camera.
Okay, so it's going out in a cone shape. We have to keep that in mind.
Right.
It's not going out in a rectangle shape, which is what we see the framing here. So you're getting, it's not dead center because we can see that from the shadows, but it's off center, but it's a circular pattern that goes out, which means as you go to the edges, you're going to have less light reflecting off of objects that get in front of it, which is why it appears to appear in the scene and then disappear. It's not actually doing that. It's just coming into the scene and it's starting to reflect light as it comes in. Like if it comes in the bottom of the camera like this, wait, my name's in the way. If it comes in like this, it's reflecting very little light. And then as it comes up a little bit more, it reflects more light. And then as it goes out, it stops reflecting so much light. So it's the intensity of the light that it's reflecting that we're seeing here, and the motion. Because of the low light situation, it's running at a slower frame rate to gather in more light. So it's almost the video equivalent of a slow shutter or a low.
Okay.
And that's why that's why nothing is sharp. It's very fuzzy. Because of the movement. So this, I mean, for me, based on what I see here, and we know that the dog was in the room with you, it's most likely the tip of his tail that got in the way. And I mean, because you're pointing down, you're literally pointing down almost at the ground at an angle. So that's what I would see this as. And I would the best thing I could say is try to recreate it.
Yeah, that's won't be able to happen because we moved out of the house
Well,
several years back. But
you can still play with it.
Yeah.
I mean, because you don't need with this. It's more or less just trying to figure out if it's possible, and what it might look like. So you could set it up in another room in your house now.
you think as tall as I am, and she was a puppy at the time, you really think that's her tail?
Yeah. I mean, you're pointing down. I mean, look at the desk right there.
Right.
The desk fills up most of the frame, and you're looking at the baseboard now. You're not pointed straight ahead, so your height is not going to be taken into account. You're pointing down at a downward angle, and if a dog gets right in front of you, yeah, and you're not holding. I don't think you're holding it up here. It doesn't. From what I'm looking at, from the dresser in there, you're almost. You're pretty close to being level with the top of that dresser. So most likely, I would say you're probably holding it down here.
Probably more like right about here. Because I mean, I have to see where I'm going.
Yeah.
But no, I don't record like this or anything. Yeah.
Right. You're not looking straight ahead. You're looking kind of like this in a resting position. You're looking at the screen, and it's pointed down. So yes, I definitely think you could get that. But the best thing, again, I mean, try to recreate it.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
She's much bigger now, so.
But still, all you need all you need is a dark room, a camera,
and the dog.
Be the same camera and the tip of her tail.
With all the shit that has happened on this property, I don't know if I want to be in a dark room with an infrared camera here. I'll try somewhere else.
That's fine. You just want to see what it looks like.
Yeah,
that's all. Try to recreate the scene and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
No, David, don't hate me after this show.
He's
well, not you that I would hate. It would be no. I'm just kidding. No, but no, seriously. I mean, as far as like, the exposure time, like you were talking about, and of course, like you said, the game cameras are crap. I only shot that one picture. That's the only picture that one ever took. Right. I just wanted something that I could leave somewhere, see what happens, and then just take the memory card out, pop it in the computer, see what I catch. That's the only reason why I have a game camera. But like I said, that's the only one that's the only picture it ever took, and it never worked after that. Yeah. It wasn't raining or anything. It never got wet. So I don't know why it stopped working, but I won't be wasting any money on another one. Plus, I think it was only like $50. So, but no, like next time, like you said, take pictures of different angles of the room. That would definitely help, so you can get different vantage points. So, that's something to keep in mind for future.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not. I know I'm kind of going off on the photos, but I'm not trying to spoil your fun or anything like that. It's just this is what I do. And I've been doing it for.
It's good though because Kenny. I mean, Teddy told me he's he's a skeptic. I was like, okay, cool, but no, I mean, it gives me different things to look at from now on.
And that's the point. That's the point of what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to take the wind out of anyone's sails. I'm trying to pass on education that I've gotten, and it's not just belief. It's not just what I think. Sometimes it's because I've done photography for the last 15 to 20 years. Yeah. I've done all types of photography. I'm well versed in what the camera can do, and I can usually recreate almost any anomaly that I come across. It just takes time sometimes, like we're doing this on the spot. And that's not usually what I do. Like with videos, with that, I would request to have it for a couple days so I can look at it, so I can enhance it, so I can see what's going on and try to recreate it, because I would recreate it myself and say, okay, under these conditions, I was able to duplicate this, and this is what I came up with, and then we can compare. But doing it on the spot is usually what happens during live shows. So I can only give you like preliminary information.
No, but I mean that it still helps because it's
We're
You know,
learning.
it's a weird video.
Yeah,
So
it
Right.
is, but we're learning,
Right.
and that's the whole that's the point of this. I mean, I don't want everybody thinking that. Well, actually, they already think it, but I like having a fresh idea, a fresh opinion. And with Kenny, I know that I'm going to get straightforward,
yeah,
no bullshit. This is what he believes, but he has the years backing him up. He has all this stuff to say, hey, this is what I do,
right.
So so I like having that.
Oh yeah,
Like I said before, having
it's
somebody like
different.
Kenny in the field is what we need.
Right, it's a different viewpoint too, and
Right,
like I said, as far I'm not a photography expert,
right.
So
And I want to address what Jonathan wrote in the chat
No,
room.
I was just gonna say, but I was just gonna say, well, thank you, Jonathan, because I didn't see that he was there.
hey, Jonathan.
I mean, he agrees, and then the comment that he makes about, however, we cannot rule out that there is paranormal activity around. They take many forms. My response to that would be that, unfortunately, the paranormal is invoking something from opinion, and it's not actually based on fact, or
Exactly.
or the data that you collect. It's a conclusion based on belief. I'm not trying to diss or be confrontational with them, but I'm saying, if you don't have a source, if you don't find the source of a mystery, then you can't come to a conclusion.
Right.
And that's it. You can speculate all you want. I mean, that's what we do. But you can't until you find an actual source. Like with this video, by what I saw, by the data that was available, the most likely conclusion that I come up with is that it's probably the dog's tail. But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% because we're missing a lot of information.
Right.
But on the same account, I cannot invoke a paranormal conclusion because, again, we don't have the information that would back that up. We don't have a source.
Right.
Like, I can't say 100% that it was the dog's tail because I'm not sure. We're only seeing, if it is, we're only seeing the very tippy tip.
Exactly.
And we can't identify it from that. But there is no source when it comes to invoking a paranormal claim. Like, you can't say it's a ghost unless you actually had the ghost. You know what I mean? You just can't do it because it's just a belief.
See his next remark.
I say this because one of my mates woke up once with this handprint on his neck. No one else was around, but his neck had a blue hand mark. So again, I mean, that demonstrated the point that I was making. You don't know what the source is. So therefore, you can't conclude that it's paranormal because you don't have a source. You don't know what caused it. Right. It's literally a mystery.
It's the unknown. That's why it's paranormal.
Yeah. Well, and then paranormal is that's going the extra step.
It is. But like I have said in the past, doing this for 30-something years, is that when I started out, there was no paranormal. It was the unknown.
You started out before they invented the wheel.
You know what?
Your neighbor was down the street chiseling around that block and stumbled across, hey, this rolls when I push it. There's the wheel.
Love you too, Kenny.
And he missed out on it. He didn't get the copyright that.
No, but yeah, I totally agree with Kenny with this stuff. I mean, actually, I was the first one to say that I thought it was his tail, but I like the fact that he, took it further. Yeah. I'm not an expert. He obviously, when it comes to photographs, he's definitely an expert. Good. Considering to me, you're an expert. I mean, because I don't have that knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean.
But see, that's what we need too. We need people to, as you say, rip things apart, tear it apart, look at it, because the things that I've caught, with the mist or the orbs or whatever. I mean, it's all there. That's the picture. That's how it came out. And of course, the first image that we showed with the woman in the dress, or what looks like a woman in her dress,
right?
If that was Photoshop, that's also going to show up That's also that information will show up in in the
Not necessarily.
well, usually it does. Because there's different, like you can see when the photos have been modified and things like that. So I mean, it shows what happens to the file over time. Not always, but I mean, you can tell if something's been modified because like even
I get that.
it'll say that too. But that's what we need is we need people to actually tear things apart, look at it from different angles. I'm not a photo expert, so that's what we need is I need somebody to look at these and say, okay, the mist is only it's got to be between, it's got to be less than 15 feet away because it's really
closer. It's closer to the lens. It's closer to
like the one photo, it looks like it's in the middle of the road to me, but that's also where I heard the footsteps. That's why I went ahead and turned around, took the pictures. To me, it seems like it's in the middle of the road because that's where I heard the footsteps. The cop was there with us, so he says, "I thought your people were back there in the woods." I was like, "They are." Pictures, and that's what we caught was the fog, So.
But the photo. See, here's the other thing too. Is and I was thinking about this. Is that, like what Kenny was saying, you got an audible, and then you had a visual.
Yeah.
And you can't connect the dots unless there's more to it.
Right. Just like the orbs. I'm not an orb person at all. But when you heard the footsteps,
there is one orb that I love, though. I completely love its round shape, its cheese, its pepperoni, its sauce. That is a perfect orb for me. I love it. Jonathan King come back and said, haha, selling wood to the ox wagon carts. He also says people are getting better at photos these days. Anyways, guys, it was pretty early here in South Africa. Oh, well, that's very cool. Teddy, thanks for your advice. You are welcome. Kenny, thanks for your expertise. David, as always, you rock. Cheers, guys. We'll see if I get a chance to catch the end of this.
This is the end, I think. Yeah,
it's pretty much the end. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty much the end.
It shouldn't it have ended like 45 minutes ago?
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Well, Kenny always says, you always say this is a 90-minute show, but it always lasts 2 or 3 hours.
It never go. It
always actually, if you watch my show lately, it does end 90 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I've been getting better at it, Mister.
So like with that picture with the smoke, that's in the middle of the road. It really comes down to perspective with that kind of things, because you have to remember you're looking at a 2-dimensional image. So like for this is a picture. This is a road that I drew. Okay, it's going away from you.
Right.
Okay, so we could say like this is a very long road and we're looking down it, and then if I put an orb on the picture, can you tell how far down the road it is?
No. Right,
because 2 things. One, we don't know how long that road is. We don't know how far away it is. And we also don't know the size of that quote-unquote orb.
Right.
If you don't have those numbers, you can't figure out how far away it is.
But if it's that small, it's probably a bug.
Or what if it's a flashlight 30 feet away?
Mm-hmm.
Well, usually I know where my staff, I know where my crew is at all times. So,
well, I mean, when we're talking about the smoke picture,
only
one person has to be there. The person taking the picture.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
So that's all you need. But I mean, what I'm trying to get at is the 2-dimensional picture lacks perspective that we need. The 3-dimensional perspective that we need. You cannot tell where something is if you don't know how big it is.
Right.
That's just it. That's why a lot of people report UFOs in the sky, and because they see this little dot or a little light in the sky and they have no idea what it is. And sometimes they think it's a mile away. Sometimes they think it's 30 miles away.
But the only thing they get right, with that stuff is the fact is it's unidentified. That's it.
That's it. There you go.
So, David, thank you so much for doing this. Coming up here and being,
putting up with me.
Yeah.
No, I mean seriously. I mean, I've seen Kenny on your show before. I've seen his shows a couple times, and it gives me a lot to think about in the future. Definitely taking more photos of my surrounding areas.
Mhm.
A lot of these pictures were taken when I first started out doing this,
Right.
8 to 10
Right.
years ago,
Right.
roughly. The video that I took of Waffles there, that was looks like that was in 2015. So that was 5 years ago.
Right.
And like you always say, Teddy, there's no experts in this field.
Right.
I've had experiences where I've heard things, I've heard voices, I've seen things, the personal experiences, things like that. It's all, like you say, it's all unexplained. As far as taking pictures in the future, I'll
You'll be better
definitely
at it.
have to look and take more surrounding pictures to show, hey, this was here, that was there. But like I said,
Yeah.
a lot of these were taken years and years and years ago. And
Yeah, and that's cool though. I mean, like you explained, it was when you started out, you didn't know, and now you're learning a little bit more. So now, Kenny's done his job. I've done my job of bringing you to Kenny, so that gives you a little bit more information. I know I'm still getting a message from you later on saying "fuck you, Teddy." I know I'm still getting that.
No, seriously, it's. I really don't think it's the tail of the dog though in the video.
I you did write one. He used to do that all the time. Bad word.
I don't think it's the tail though, but
it's okay
I mean,
to agree to disagree, man.
It could be, but I want to say I know that Waffles didn't go all the way into the room. So she walked in, she took like 2 steps, and I walked in. That's one of the things that I'm saying. That's one of the reasons. But again, y'all weren't there. It was also 5 years ago.
Right,
but,
and so memory.
Memory.
There's a lot of things.
All
Yeah,
the details from 5 years ago.
But I do remember her only taking like 1 or 2 steps in. She didn't go all the way into the room.
there is another factor.
What?
Gay men love detail.
I would wager that I like details better than pretty much all gay men.
Really?
Yes.
That was a pretty feminine yes.
Yes.
I gotta pick on you. We've been so serious
right now. Is all details. That's what
I know. I know. It's just we have been so serious with this whole thing, which I love, because we showed that we can sit down, have an adult conversation without having people bitching and complaining and being assholes to each other, other than in a fun way, And and this is what I like. This is what we need more of.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And everybody being open to criticism of their findings.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's what we need to do. I mean, I've been on some conversations in the past 2 days with individuals who have a name in the paranormal because of television, and a lot of things have been said in the past couple days, and my opinion has not changed, and I won't let it change, because I still think we need more skepticism in what's happening for the future. Too many people are claiming this is what it is, and they don't even have data, or they don't have anybody helping them tear it apart. They're not sharing it. They're not doing, you know what I mean? So for me, I like to see what we did tonight. I really do.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you've had how many years of experience?
Yeah, Dirt was young, according to Kenny.
Oh, for me?
Dirt was young. For me.
Oh, okay.
Dirt was young when I started. Yeah.
And then on top of that, Kenny is well versed in photography. So I mean, as far as that it helps explain a few things. It really does. So that's a good thing. But I mean, like I said,
you don't have to agree 100% with him, and that's what's great about this whole thing.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with the dog's tail though, because
that's okay, because you're wrong.
Waffles was walking up That's her name.
Every time he says waffles, all I think about is syrup. I'm like, I want breakfast.
She named herself. When we first got her, I had to go pick her up, and she was like 6 months old, and I thought she was deaf because I'm like, hey, come on, and she would just like ignore me like a cat. So she had a vaginal infection when we first got her, so I called her Snatch. She didn't answer to that name at all. But we were making breakfast one morning, and somebody said, hey, do you want pancakes? I was like, I hate pancakes. They're like, well, what about waffles? And all of a sudden she comes running into the room and she flops down. She starts wagging her tail, and I'm like, we didn't call you. So I was like, I don't like pancakes. I don't like French toast. I don't like maple syrup. I'm weird. Yeah, I just don't like breakfast food that much. I was like, I don't like waffles, and start wagging her tail. And we're like, are you seeing this? And so we kept saying a couple of different things. We're like, pancakes, blueberry muffin, I don't know. And then we're like, waffles, and she'd start wagging her tail. We're like, that's her name. So
I love
that's her name. So when she went up to the stairs, though, she was actually growling. And see, this is just a screen recording of the video, so I could slow it down so y'all could see what was going on. Right. But she was actually. No, that's not the whole video. I have to go back and look at my hard drive for the whole video. What was that?
There's more before it?
It started right around the same time. Okay. There's really not much more of it. Okay. There's maybe another 5 or 6 seconds after, and it's probably me showing the ground, which you probably won't see waffles in there, I'm pretty sure. And then I stopped the recording. But again, I don't have that part for you to see. So you're only going based on what you can see. Right. You can't hear the audio because this is a screen recording of the video clip. So I could slow down the little ball of light going, what looks like it's going through the wall. Mm-hmm. But prior to that, we heard it sounded like heavy boot steps. This is not an old house, but it's about a mile from Pickett's Mill Battlefield. It's a rental house. It has there's always people going in and out. Nobody stayed there for very long because they claimed it was haunted. And we're like, cool. We were in the house for about 1.5 years, and we loved the house. Really, we've only had like 4 experiences in the house. It really wasn't as haunted as we thought it was. This was probably the first week or maybe the second week while we were in the house when we heard the boot steps. But it sounded like somebody stomping. It was loud. The dogs were getting aggressive. Waffles walks up to that door and she's growling. She's not showing her teeth. She's like, she's just making noises, and she's tilting her head. So I was like, I have all this equipment at him, so that's why it took me so long to open the door. But that's really.
So there's other things to the story which I love. Which I love. You know what I mean? And that if we were to sit back in the beginning without going through all the photos, it would make for a great story. It would make for that, like, man, I would love to go check this place out, and it kind of gives you a different perspective other than if you forgot everything we just did. Yeah. Prior to using skeptics and people like Kenny, when the field first started, and I'm talking experience now, is that when we were out there doing our experiments, we were doing what we knew. It was our own knowledge. We thought outside the paranormal box. That's why I named my book the way I did. We were trying to come up with any thought, any idea, how we could prove or disprove, or can I capture this? How can I capture it? So on and so forth. So there was a lot of things going on there, but we had back when I was doing it, like I said, it was called the unknown. I didn't have any friends that were into tearing photos apart or listening to an EVP or any of this stuff. So my meaning, I guess, behind all of this is that we become we accept everything without a rhyme or reason now. I mean, we always have since the beginning. And it's new for us to have someone like Kenny come and step into the field and say, "Hey guys, I'm different. Fuck you guys." And now they're saying, "Nope, fuck you." And so it's like, it's just nice to have that because we didn't have it back in the day, and so we're used to it being a certain way.
Yeah.
We can't discount, like when I learned, you didn't discount personal experiences. You didn't discount things that you couldn't tie into it. You couldn't discount like stuff that they want to go back to in the field. They want to go back to the moon phase, barometric pressure, they want to use all this stuff again and try to consider advancing the field by having all this other stuff with it, which you and I have talked about before with temperature and all that stuff. This is what they want to do, and who am I to say no, don't do it, or yes, do it, whatever. I don't care. But we just have to look at the fact is that I don't discount anything until I have as much information as possible. Right. Your story, I still take in account that the dog I saw from the video, I saw the dog go to the door. Obviously, there was something going on in that room because the dog picked it up.
Yeah.
Okay? What was it? I have no idea. The dog...
There's a little issue with that because, and I understand how... The more you talked about it, we have to also take into account your reactions and your actions during that time, because it's probable that the dog was reacting to your reaction as well. Because when the video starts, the dog is not at the door. The video starts and the dog then goes up to the door. So because the camera's already rolling, and then we see a reaction, it's probable that the dog was reacting more so because of you. If you heard something, you're like, "What's that? What's that?" and you're getting excited about it. That dog's going to feed off of your actions and your emotions.
And that makes sense because when you say, "Hey, you see the ball? See the ball?" Or my dogs, they'll always bark when I say, "Who is it?"
Exactly. My dog. If I'm on the couch and I go, "Who's at the door?" Boom! It's barking and right at the door, like looking like, all right, this is my house, bitch. Who's here?
There's another thing though that we just can't throw out as well, is that animals, especially dogs, hear in different frequencies than we do. They hear things that we don't. So it could have been because of your reaction, like he said, which I'm not discounting, but there also could have been something that had fallen. There could have been something like a bird or a toad or something in that room, a cricket. There could have been something hitting the room. I'm just saying, hey, shush. I'm just saying that you can't discount the fact that there was a noise that could have drawn him there that you didn't hear. That was my point. I was just being cute when I said
he did hear a
bird and noise. So so it could be other things as well as your reaction. It could be something that he heard and only he heard.
Yeah, it comes back to the idea that there's information that's missing.
Right. Yeah, no, that's that, and that makes sense too. But now, when we heard the boot steps,
how many steps?
Well, at first we heard 4, because it sounded like it walked down the steps, like halfway down the stairs. Started like it sounded like it started halfway down. And we're like, what the hell is that? So Charles, Kimberly, and I are all like huddled together, like, what the fuck is going on? So we're watching. So now there's a fireplace behind us, the couch, and then the stairs would have been right in front of us. We're all just kind of. So I'm like, ooh, my camera's right here. So I grab the camera and I turn it on. I start to record, but it takes me a few seconds because I have to open the camera. Right. It takes a second for it to turn on. I have to go into the menu. I have to turn on the infrared. So the first thing that comes on is the flash. So then I have to turn on the infrared.
Where's the steps in relation to the room?
Probably about as far where I was standing or where they were in the room, in the house.
So you said it sounded like footsteps coming down the stairs, starting in the middle of the stairs, but I didn't see any stairs in the video.
I was probably as close as I am from my bed to where I'm at now, which this is about 10 feet. So that's why I'm saying it sounded like it started to the middle, because I didn't hear anything walking up. I didn't hear anything walking down. It sounded like it was in the middle, and it went just boom, boom, boom. And we're like, Is that coming from under the house? Is it coming from under the stairs? So we were about to actually go down to look in the garage to see if there was like a raccoon or something going on. Did we leave the garage door open? Because as soon as you walk up the stairs from the garage, you're in the kitchen, you turn the corner and you go up the stairs that are in the video.
What
So the
stairs?
stairs were behind you.
Hmm?
When you first start rolling the camera, the stairs were behind you?
They were in front of me. I'm standing here. Charles and Kimberly and I are standing here, and we're probably from here to where my bed is, from the stairs.
Okay.
But I have my
Okay,
camera.
so I was just trying to, with the video, I was trying to figure out where the stairs were. So they
Yeah, I
were
don't
in front of
see
us from the video.
Yeah, I can bring it up again.
So I guess, is it a fair question or a fair statement to say that you didn't know where the noise came from?
At first, yes. It sounded like, because on the other side of the stairs would have been the garage. Did we leave the garage door open? Is somebody in the garage? But when the dog started walking up, she started walking up the stairs. Actually, I do see it in the video. There are no stairs.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking that too. So where are the stairs?
Yeah, so now I'm walking up the stairs as I'm recording, but then again, like I said, this was just a screen recording of the video clip. I was just trying to put the ball of light so that way everybody could see. So
you were downstairs?
I was downstairs. Yes, because it's a split level.
Okay. All right.
So if we're standing in the living room, facing the stairs, if we were to go here into the kitchen and walk down the stairs, we'd be in the garage. And then we got the stairs above us going up. So it's a split level. And like, that's why I said at first, was it somebody banging in the garage? Because they'd have to be pretty tall to hit like in the middle of the staircase. Because it sounded like it was coming from the middle. It didn't sound like anything walked up. It didn't sound like anything walking down from the hallway walking down. But it was heavy boot steps. It was a thud sound, thud. Okay. But we could hear the stairs creak on the second step from the second step going up towards the second floor. The second step
heard the pressure.
It actually has a creak to it, and it's just a little creak.
Mm-hmm.
We heard that. So whatever it was, it sounded like it started in the middle of the stairs, or right there towards the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. We heard the creaking sound. That's why we're all like looking at the stairs, trying to take pictures, trying to get all of our shit turned on to see what's going on. Prior to this, I was actually making dinner. And my mom gave me this oil and vinegar dispenser. I didn't use them, but they were like decorative, so I had them out. They weren't on top of the stove, but when we heard it break, it was on top of the stove. I don't know if something picked it up and dropped it. I don't know if it fell over off of something. And to me, it was just kind of weird. It's like, so why is it broken? It was nowhere near the stove to begin with, where I had it in the kitchen. It wasn't anywhere near the stove.
So you're talking about another event?
Yeah.
Prior to what happened?
About 5 to 10 minutes prior to this.
See, this changes a couple things. I mean, it does. But we're not there. We don't know.
Yeah. We didn't have any video or anything of it.
Fortunately, that's a separate experience.
It is. It is. But it does still tie together in some sense because it's in the same building.
It doesn't tie together until you can establish.
You can't.
It does not. They don't correlate. They don't mean anything. They don't mean either one had anything to do with the other until you establish some kind of link. These are two separate events. If I flushed a toilet and my doorbell rings, that doesn't mean one calls the other. So
That's true. Now, I we were trying to figure out because I thought maybe somebody had maybe because Kimberly was a guest, and I thought maybe she had dropped it, or maybe it didn't mean anything to me because I didn't use the damn thing. But there was nothing in it. It was about 5 to 10 minutes prior to this happening with the dog, but the didn't think too much of it and kind of just cleaned up the glass. There was no glass on the ground or anything. It was all on the stove, like towards the middle, like somebody picked it up and just dropped it. So we just kind of cleaned up the mess. It was no big deal. Kimberly said that she was in the bathroom, so she would have been actually upstairs when this happened. Charles and I were in the house on the first floor, technically the kitchen living room area, and the front the front patio area as well. It's kind of hard to explain this house because it's a split level, but there's 3 levels. We had the garage, we had the first level,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had
And
the
then the
second
upstairs.
level, which is where the dogs were. So we heard the glass break, and it was a couple moments later because we didn't get up and go, "What happened?" We just go, "You okay?" Because we thought maybe Kim dropped something. She said she was in the bathroom when it happened. She heard it. We didn't think too much of it, and I'm like, well, where was it? Because it's normally over here by the sink. It's the sink, the refrigerator, counter space. Then we've got the corner here where the stove is, and then a small countertop, and then the door for the basement. So it's supposed to be over there. Why is it over here on the? That was my only what's it doing here? That's it. It's not paranormal at all.
I do have another question, though. You said you had probably 4 or 5 experiences there, right? What were some of the other ones, if you don't mind me asking?
So the other one, I told you I had to really pee early in the morning, and I ran up the stairs, and saw a shadow. It was dark enough, like what I'm casting on the. It was dark enough that I could see it, but it wasn't solid black. But it scared the shit out of me almost because I had to pee, and I'm looking down as I'm walking up, and I see it. I'm like, oh God! And I saw it walk into the room, and I'm like. I just turned back around and walked down the stairs, and I peed off the back porch.
Yeah.
It was still early in the morning. The sun hadn't popped up yet, so nobody could have seen me, which was good. Plus, the neighbors weren't home, so. But that's something that I saw,
Right.
and it went into the last room, not the first room that Waffles went into, but it went into the last room.
Was there anything else?
Another experience was I was walking up from getting the mail. So I have a picture of what the house looks like on the outside. It's a long sloping driveway. And I had just got the mail, and I was walking up, I saw a flicker, and I looked up, and the light was flickering on and off a couple of times. And I'm like, no, there's no way the dogs can reach it. And on top of that, it was a rental house. Waffles was a puppy still. We had all the doors closed. So if she did go anywhere, if she messed anywhere, if she had an accident, which we really didn't have any accidents out of her, but she's sick a lot. So if she were to get sick, she would only get sick on hopefully the linoleum and not the carpet in the hallway of where the stairway is.
Right.
But we always kept the doors closed because we didn't want her just going in there and tearing something up or chewing on something that we would have to replace later.
Right.
So I've seen the lights flicker a couple of times, and that was in the same room where we saw the ball of. I'm going to still say it's a ball of light. That one I'm pretty adamant on, but where we saw the ball there, it was that room. The light was flickering on and off. It's an older house, but I don't think they really had any electrical issues in there. We didn't have any electrical issues when we were in there. We didn't have it happen while we were in the house. That's happened twice with the lights flickering. Same room though. I remember talking to the neighbors, We didn't really talk to them until probably about a week and a half before we moved out. And they said, "So, have you experienced anything weird in the house?" Yeah, a couple of things. Why? I was like, "Do you know what happened in the house?" They said, "Well, the owners that lived in there that originally built it had died in the house, but they were nice people and they don't think that they're haunting the house. But the person that moved in afterwards killed themselves in the basement." So I was like, "Well, that's good to know." But we are also 1 mile from Pickett's Mill Battlefield. We're 1 mile from where the plane crashed in 1977. We're 1 mile from where that battlefield, or where the battle happened at New Hope Church. So we're in a very strange area, if to say the least. So I thought that maybe there could be something paranormal going on in the house, but didn't know if it was tied to the battlefield, if it was tied to the guy that killed himself. I never felt uneasy in the basement except for the spiders, because our washer and dryer were in there, and I fucking hate spiders. And they weren't granddaddy long legs, but they were small bodies and they had really long legs, but they also had webs. And no matter how, the basement was unfinished, so you couldn't see them until you were right upon them. But that's the only thing I hated about the basement. I didn't feel uneasy down there, but after we found out that somebody killed himself in the basement, they hung themselves from the rafter. I'm like, there's rope there. It's like, what if that's the rope that they use? There's rope over here too. I wonder if that's the rope. And that's really it. I didn't feel uneasy, but it was just kind of weird to know that somebody hung themselves in the basement. Don't know if they were trying to kick, maybe it was a residual or something, and they were kicking because they were hanging and they were trying to kick themselves down, because they would have been right there in that area where the ropes were. But like I said, it sounded like it began in the middle. It didn't. Sometimes you can judge the depth when you're close to something. You can judge where you can hear where something's coming from. And it didn't sound like anything walking from the end of the hallway walking down. It started right towards the middle and just started stomp, 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 stomp. Like heavy thuds, almost like boot steps. So that's why we were like, well, we are close to a battlefield. Maybe it's a soldier. Maybe that could be it. Maybe the previous owner was an old guy and he really liked boots. We don't know. But
see, this is why I love the paranormal. I love the stories. I love how all of it comes together, and it's interesting, and you got my attention, and then I look at Kenny and I go, fuck.
Wow. I'm listening. Hey.
I know, but I
still love ghost stories. I
know, I love his story. I love this story. I really do.
Yeah. I'm interested.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Story, bro.
But yeah, that's anyways, that was the house that was in Georgia that we lived in. It was a rental house. Like I said, we always kept the doors closed so the dogs wouldn't go in the room and tear up the carpet, or
I don't know. I love it. I just love the story. I love that we have spent another hour. David's fault this time.
Sorry.
No, you're all right. But you know what? You believe what you believe. Huh?
I'm just going to get a shower and go right to work by the time we're done.
No. Because I actually have to go because I have to take my dad to a doctor's appointment in the morning. So, the family thing. But Jonathan King, LOL, I'm back. Well, I'm leaving. We're leaving.
We're leaving now.
John took a nap.
Yeah.
And then came back. We're still on.
So, but I just wanted to say again, I mean, you believe what you want to believe. I'll believe what I believe. Kenny will believe what he believes.
Right.
But it's still, at the end of the day, it's nice to have somebody else to talk about it and run through ideas and thoughts and so on and so forth.
Right.
So that's what I still end up with. But I love the story and I'm excited about it. So, awesome. I like it. So, all right. We're going to get out of here because
it's like 2:00 your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1:00 my time. My bedtime's at like 11:30 now, so
yeah. Okay. Well,
another hour or two. I got work to do.
Oh man. All right, guys. Well, thank you, both of you, for being on the show with
Thank
me.
you for having me.
Yeah, you're
It was
right.
good to meet
Anytime,
you
man.
again, Kenny.
It was good to meet you, Dave. I did send, if you get a chance, in the private chat, I sent you my email address.
Okay.
If you feel up to it and want to send me the video or pictures, we can take a better look at it. And then we can talk about that later.
All right. Sounds good.
So, all right. Well, that's been a fun night. I really enjoyed our conversation. So, everybody else that's listening, if you're still here with us, thank you for joining us. Me, Kenny, and Dave. And we will see you Thursday night. I believe I have Mr. Tony DeVille joining me on Thursday night, and we're just going to shoot the shit. That's it. It's a shoot the shit night. And Saturday, there is no show for Talk with Teddy. It's my sister's birthday, and we are going to get her hammered.
Yes.
So that's what it is. All right, guys. Thank you again. I appreciate it. We're out of here.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you and my guests for joining me here on Talk with Teddy. Be safe and look out for one another. Don't forget that Talk with Teddy is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, so please go and subscribe. Thank you.